Namaste. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across the planet, around the world. My name is Greg Prescott from in5d.com, and you're tuned into another live chat. Today's topic is the dark night of the soul. So I'm going to post a link to our Zoom into the YouTube chat room. And as always, this link will disappear at the end of the show. But yeah, the dark night of the soul, what I've noticed is like, a lot of people have gone through the dark night of the soul. Some of us have gone through it several times, and there may be a looping pattern going on with the dark night of the soul. And I'll be getting into that in a little bit right now. A quick shout out to everyone that is joining us on YouTube. Karen, Andrea, Poetically Mistaken, Joy Lane, Jackie, Heather. I love that shirt. Awesome. And I will be making you that shirt that you requested, Heather. I just, as a matter of fact, it's in my kitchen right now, soaking in soda ash, and I'll be dyeing it tomorrow. So a quick shout out to Susan, who just ordered a shirt. Susan from Van Wert, Ohio. And to everyone that has ordered shirts today, I'll be sending them out first thing in the morning. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about this, the N5D Quantum Tie-Dye. So I got these amazing shirts that have this incredible energy to them. What I do is when I dye these shirts, I put the sand from Siesta Key into the dye and put positive intentions and thoughts into the shirts along with Ho'oponopono. So you're getting this shirt that's just purely magic. So, and by purchasing a shirt, you're also helping to support the channel, which is greatly appreciated. Another way you can support the channel is through Patreon. So just go to patreon.com/N5D. And there's all sorts of tiers you can join. The lowest one, you're going to get notified of these kind of videos that I have at just $111 a month. So you get notified of that. Plus you get listed on our N5D Patreon wall of eternal gratitude page. And when I upload these videos to Patreon, you can also comment on them there. We also have the 555 level, which is all that, plus ad-free articles. And the Insiders Club private chat on Zoom, this format, except it's the exact same thing as what we're doing here, except it's private. This is not going out on YouTube or anywhere else. So that's on the first Wednesday of every month. So even to those of you who are introverted, it's a small group. You can join us and talk and say whatever you want. And then the next level up is everything that's included there, plus the exclusive Afterthoughts video and the exclusive mid-month energy report video, which I just put out a few days ago. So I appreciate any and all support that you guys have, because as you know, Facebook hates me. Facebook basically has grounded N5D. I can't do anything on there. It seems whenever I post a link, I'm essentially the only one that sees it. On the last video, we were talking about this, how, I had been posting things, but I was asking people, what was the last thing you saw on my page? And it was like from a week ago. So it just proves that Facebook is shadow banning. Shadow banning is when you post and you can see what you're posting, but nobody else can, or very few people can. So, that's why, I appreciate everyone that has, been supporting us through either, the purchase of a shirt or, or through Patreon. So thank you to all. Okay, so today's topic is the dark night of the soul. And I was mentioning how magic shirts. I was mentioning how it seems like there may be a looping going on with the dark night of the soul / dark nights of the soul. I initially had a dark night of the soul back in 2007, 2008. That's when I got diagnosed with a stage 3 skin cancer. My German Shepherd died. My second German Shepherd, Bogey. My girlfriend and I broke up, and my ex-wife moved back to New York with my daughter. Even though I had joint custody, she was custodian of joint custody, so she could make up her decision on where she could go. And that just, as you guys know, my daughter's always been my everything, and she'll be coming down. I just spoke with her today. She'll be coming down for spring break in April. I can't wait. But yeah, that just, it was rough. And this was, like I said, back in 2007, 2008. And I thought, man, this sucks. But the good thing that came out of it, once I came through the other side, this came out of it. Because eventually I just said, screw it, I surrender. What is it, universe, I'm supposed to do? And that's when I got that galactic download that told me you have to build in 5D. Here's the name, in 5D. This is the name of your website that you're going to have, and you're going to do interviews, and you're going to, be on radio shows and stuff like that. I'm like, no, you got the wrong person. I'm an introvert. They said, no, hey, you're the one that's going to be doing it. And I'm doing it. Sometimes I think reluctantly, being the introvert that I am, because, about 80%, 85% of you that are watching right now are introverted like me. And it's not easy doing this, to go in front and spill your guts out in front of everyone, especially about stuff like this, the dark night of the soul, which we've all been through. But you can do it, and if nothing else, I've gotten this from so many people that have told me similar stories that, I'm also an introvert, and you gave me the confidence to be able to do what you're doing as well. And I love that, because, I don't want to be looked at as a leader. I just want to encourage other people to lead. I'm the kind of person that would much rather push other people out in front in the spotlight other than myself. But I think that ultimately, it's like a group consensus. It's the collective consciousness, right? That's more important than any individual. And that's what I would like to encourage. If you're following a website or a person that says it's my way, and that's the only way, and they're using absolutes like always and never, and just be careful, okay? Or if you're visiting websites that have these like biblical characters, mother and father and all this crap, run. That's all I can tell you. And there are websites out there that are like that. Run as fast as you can. Yeah, you don't want people controlling your thoughts and what you need to believe and how you're supposed to be doing things. You know what? Here on M5D, I put things out there, and that's why I have this Zoom going on right now, so we can get all sorts of different perspectives out there, which is important. Of course, there are some perspectives I'm not gonna. There are some people that have crossed me that I will not allow them to be talked about on this format, but for the most part, everything else goes. So flash forward to 2019, 2020. My girlfriend and I, once again, break up. My dog, my next German Shepherd, died. I had, instead of having the skin cancer like I did back in 2007, this time I had the heart attack. But I'm thinking, I made it through that first one in 2007, 2008. and I'm making it through this one. What I learned is that something bigger and better is on the other side. And that's where we had in 5D back in 2008, 2009 was like the birthing process of in 5D. So, here we are, 2020, and something huge is about to be birthed. And this is our confirmation. At least it's my confirmation that I can share with you, feeling like, this is the microcosm. The macrocosm is about to expand. Something huge is about to happen. And we're all here together to witness it. So there is on In5D, I have an article on the dark night of the soul. And as always, I'll put a link in the more info section below the video. At some point in your life, you'll experience the dark night of the soul, where it seems that everything that can possibly go wrong will go wrong. What many people fail to realize is that this is a true blessing. The dark night of the soul occurs when your life appears to hit rock bottom. You may experience a plethora of bad breaks in your personal life, financially, mentally, and or physically. What typically happens during the dark night of the soul is that we get so pounded by all of these experiences that we end up reflecting on, why did this happen to me? At first, you may feel hatred toward those who contributed to your dark night of the soul. You may question the creator and feel as though your spirit guides and guardian angels have failed you. This couldn't be further from the truth. Eventually, you realize that you needed to experience everything that you went through in order to grow spiritually. And that reminds me of the video and article that I have on n5d.com that is titled, "Your Goal in Life is Not to Be Happy." And that's a belief by the Rosicrucians. I was reading some of their doctrines, and I agree with that. Happiness is an emotion. Your goal in life is to experience as much as you can. And within those experiences, you'll find happiness. But just to have a goal of to be happy, that's not enough. You want those life experiences. So yeah, I do agree with the Rosicrucians. Your goal in life is not to be happy. Live life, have those experiences, get out and do things. And within those experiences, you will find happiness. In time, you will end up surrendering yourself and your ego to whatever the universe has in store for you, as if it is all now in the creator's hands. This is where the cleansing begins. And that's why it's also important to surrender. That's what I did when right before I got that galactic download. I surrendered. I was a successful child and family therapist. I had a patent pending on a program I wrote designed to help families who are at risk of dissolution, children going through the reunification process, and for families in need of parenting classes. And I was working this program, and it got approved by the area's largest human services facility. And I was working that in a 3-county area here in Florida, but I knew there was something much greater that I needed to be doing. And I surrendered. That's when I got that download. And it was after that first dark night of the soul. So if you've gone through the dark night of the soul recently, if you're currently going through the dark night of the soul, surrender to Creator. Know that when you're falling backwards, Creator's going to be there to catch you. going to do a screenshot on this because it's an important meme. It's a quote by Carl Jung, who I absolutely love, especially, with my psychology background. He was so much more than just a psychologist. He was so astute. He was the one, Carl Jung was the one who termed the word synchronicity. He was also big on astrology. But let's take a look at what he has to say here. What to remember when facing the dark night of the soul. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. To avoid facing their own soul. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. So what Carl Jung is saying there is that these dark nights of the soul that we're experiencing is a blessing, because it's lighting up those inner places within, in our subconscious, in our conscious mind as well, on areas that give us the opportunity to overcome certain trials and tribulations that we agreed upon before we incarnated to this third dimensional reality, to experience and overcome, to grow spiritually, to help us progress. So after I had all those experiences back in 2007 through 2008, during that dark night of the soul back then, it blossomed into in 5D, which allows us to be here right now. So, I mean, that's the beauty of that dark night of the soul. Would I do it all over again in order for this to be the way it is right now? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. It all has to happen exactly the way it happens. And just surrendering, acknowledging a lot of it, forgiving yourself and others. Don't forget to forgive yourself. Don't take it too hard on yourself when you're going through the dark night of the soul, and don't put all the blame on other people as well. There's got to be a balance that goes on. That's like especially hard for triple Libras to find that balance, but it's something that we can all work through. So moving on. Before you incarnated here, you made a soul contract that involved everyone who led to your dark night of the soul. Now that's kind of a twister, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I know you're going to fuck me over, but I need that in order to, it probably wasn't written quite like that, but um, there was something, and it may have had something to do with past life karma. And I've always said this, and the example I like giving is like the child abuser, and it's a horrible thing to happen. I've never spanked my daughter ever. And it's only because when I was younger, my parents went to hit me with a strap, and I kind of scooched away as my father was coming down, and it went across my back diagonally. And I thought, if I ever have children, because I went to gym class that day, and it was like third or fourth period gym class, and I still had the mark on my back. And I skipped gym because I was embarrassed. But I thought, if I ever have children, I will never hit them. And I never did. My daughter will tell you that, my little sweetie. But maybe, in a past life, maybe I was the child abuser. This is a hard pill to swallow. As much as I despise that, and as much as I would never do that to a child, is it possible that that was my karma? Maybe I abused my parents, because we all incarnate together. Sometimes your parents are your kids and vice versa, uncles, aunts, whatever. Maybe I did that to my parents in a previous life, and that was the karma being played out. Gets pretty deep. So when you were on the other side of the veil, you specifically chose people, these people that we made soul contracts with to help us grow spiritually. Some of these people may have also had previous karmic relationships with you in which you both needed to try to resolve in this incarnation. So you can see why a lot of these things will come to a boil, especially as we're getting closer and closer to the event. You want to purge and transmute these issues within. Your spirit guides and guardian angels are with you every second of your life. When you feel pain and sorrow, they do too. As much as they want to see you happy, they also realize that you need to experience certain life situations in order to grow spiritually. Every day you are being guided in the right direction towards fulfilling your life's purpose. And that guidance includes experiencing the dark night of the soul. Imagine the pain and sorrow that your guides must feel, knowing that they really want to help you more than anything. It's like having a child. I used to do this with my daughter, Brittany. I would see that she's about ready to fall, and I would be there to catch her before she hit the ground. And she's only like maybe 2 years old. My friend Kathy told me, you have to let her fall so she knows what it's like to pick herself back up. Otherwise, someday she's going to be in California and she's going to tell her friends, watch this. And she's going to fall backwards. And out of nowhere, I'm going to come and scoop her up before she hits the ground. And she was right. Kathy was right about that. And, you got to let your kids fall. So, so do your spirit guides and guardian angels. They have to watch you fall, just like that same example I just gave. And as much as it hurts them and the sorrow they feel for us, they know that we're going to grow out of it and we're going to become better people. And we're going to spiritually progress exponentially because of these situations that we have overcame. Here's a quote from Christine Walters Paintner. Letting go of our images of God can be terrifying. It is often the result of an experience of suffering in our lives when our previous understanding is no longer adequate to giving meaning to what has happened to us. When my mother died suddenly in my early 30s, I was thrust into the desert. All my certainties about God and life were stripped away, and I was left raw and frightened. Many people offered trite words and shallow comfort in my grief. They were not willing to sit with me in the darkness, but only hoped to rush me through to a place of light. This is the magical experience of the dark night of the soul, when old convictions and conformities dissolve into nothingness, and we are called to stand naked to the terror of the unknown. We must let this process move through us, one which is much greater than we can comprehend. We can never force our way back to the light. It is only in this place of absolute surrender that the new possibility can emerge. We don't just have one dark night in our lives, but again and again, as we are called to continue releasing the images we cling to so tightly. And that hits the nail on the head. I mean, everything from the surrender to you'll go through probably more than one dark night of the soul, and it is for your benefit. But as I mentioned, it's really big that you surrender at some point. Now, during my second dark night of the soul, I haven't resurrendered yet. And I think I'm going to do that after this video. But what I can tell you is something, once again, has profoundly changed in my life. And it has to do with my dreams. I see things, as you guys know, before they happen. And in my dreams, what I'm doing now is I can have a dream, wake up, go to the bathroom, come back, and pick up that dream where I left off. This has been happening for the last couple weeks or so. It's really bizarre. Occasionally in my past that would happen, but very, very rarely. But now it's like I can pick up, and I'm not even trying to do it. It's just happening. And I've always said that, our dreams seem more real than this third dimensional reality. And maybe we are dreaming the dream into consciousness. Maybe that's part of the message. I'm not sure. When you have reached the dark night of the soul, you have reached your lowest point in this incarnation. To that, I say congratulations. From this day forward, your life will take on a new meaning as you begin to understand why everything had to happen the way it did. Once you come out on the other side of the dark night of the soul, you will gain a new perspective and appreciation of what you had to go through. And these experiences will exponentially magnify your spiritual progression. Typically, many people will experience the loss of ego for the first time in their life during the dark night of the soul. This can be a very humbling experience. We typically associate a title or our accomplishments with who we are, but fail to see that ultimately we are spiritual beings having a human experience. When we lose our ego, we can finally connect to our spiritual essence because we are no longer associating ourselves with society's preconception or our own preconception of who we are. The dark night of the soul gives us a new sense of appreciation for all that is good in life and shows us how little we truly need to be happy. The most important aspect gained through the dark night of the soul is the connectedness we receive through our transformation of consciousness. It's as if you're given a new lease on life. You stop blaming other people and begin to look within for answers. You learn to forgive, you learn forgiveness and gratitude. You realize that you needed to have these experiences in order to get you to pointed in a new direction that will facilitate your spiritual growth and life purpose. Quote from Thomas More: "It is precisely because we resist the darkness in ourselves that we miss the depths of the loveliness, beauty, brilliance, creativity, and joy that lie at our core." How often do we resist the darkness, right? We do everything to avoid it. What are we ultimately avoiding? Ourselves and those little corners within ourselves that we're afraid to confront. If you're currently experiencing the dark night of the soul, I can assure you that there are much happier and fulfilling days ahead of you. At some point, you should put your faith in Creator's hands and know that you are always being divinely guided toward your life purpose. Once again, get back to surrendering, lean back, know that Creator's going to catch you. Look at where your life has taken you and what direction you are being shown to go. Try to forgive those who have led to your dark night of the soul, as well as forgiving yourself. Don't try to force any immediate changes because they will come to you when you are ready. Sometimes during the dark night of the soul, the best thing to do is nothing and just live in the now. While it may not seem like it right now, the people who led you to this point are most likely part of your soul group. That could be a hard pill to swallow too, because sometimes we've had these tumultuous relationships with people, but yet, despite those relationships and how they ended up, that they are part of your soul group and they did help to bring things out in you to help you grow spiritually. On the other side of the veil, these people loved you so much that they volunteered to lead you into the dark night of the soul. If you ever got to that point of where you were veering from your life's purpose, even if that meant that they would no longer be part of your life during this incarnation. And that's very, very true. I've mentioned a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And some of these people, as much as they love us, and as much as tumultuous as the role that they played within our lives, and as badly as it may have ended in the past, they were probably the ones that loved you the most, to volunteer to give you those lessons or to play out the karma that we incurred in previous lifetimes with one another. It's everybody that's came into your life is part of your soul group, whether you want to admit it or not. And so these people played an important part in your role. Don't hate them for it. The best way to look at the dark night of the soul is to compare it to a butterfly. Before your dark night, you were a slow moving caterpillar who was limited to a small area because of your lack of mobility. You didn't realize how much you were capable of doing until you spun your cocoon. Once you emerged from your cocoon, you transformed yourself into a beautiful butterfly whose boundaries were limitless. In this analogy, the cocoon is where you do nothing except go within. You are on the verge of a spiritual transformation. So let go of your ego and surrender to the universe, and soon you'll be spreading your wings in flight. So that is our dark night of the soul. I'm done ranting. I'm going to unmute the chat room if anyone wants to join us, and I'm going to post links in YouTube if you want to join us here as well. So don't all jump in at once.
Hello, Greg.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you doing, Kimmy?
I'm good. Hope everybody's doing good out there.
How many dark nights of the soul have you had?
One for sure.
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah.
I had a house fire February of that year. And my husband that I was separated from died in July 13th of 2015. And then my father died 8 days later. So it was a rough year.
Well, that's pretty rough right there. I would say that's a pretty rough. How did you get over it? What helped you the most when you were going through that?
Meditating, just depending on source.
Did you ever look at things like, for example, some of the things that you went through in life? Have you ever looked at it as if, the example I gave was when I got hit with a strap, and I swore I would never do that to my children. And then thinking, is it possible that I was that one that was the abuser in a previous lifetime? And maybe that's why I had to experience what I experienced. So
Yeah,
have you ever gone through things like that and wondered is that the reason why?
I have wondered that. Yes,
Yeah.
tough to do that and put yourself in that place, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It is. And to know that, everybody that, you had these experiences with, we're part of your soul group. And sometimes, we've had like these tumultuous relationships, and we'd like to think that, no, they're not part of my soul group. I'd never be with a person like that, but yeah, you would. And those people actually, many of them volunteered to play that role, as horrible as it sounds. And that's why forgiveness is important for everybody involved.
I'm still working on that. Yeah.
Well, according to Dolores Cannon, she said that's the quickest way to overcome karma.
Yeah.
So, gonna unmute the room. If you guys want to join in, you're more than welcome to. Talking about the dark night of the soul. Once again, I'll post the link in YouTube if you'd like to join us.
I'll give my story in a minute. I'm just finishing painting my nails.
Okay.
Mine was pretty brutal, so.
Okay.
Well, of course, I seem to be going through one dark night of the soul after another. It seems like about every year, every 6 months, something happens and I get pointed in a new direction anyway. So,
hey, show me that shirt before you get into this.
yeah, it's a good shirt. It has lots of great, it's one of the ones, I think it's one of the first ones I got.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wear
Love
them
the colors.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the ones that spoke to me, so I had to go ahead and get it. But
it covers a lot of the chakras in that shirt. That's great.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, because I mean, that's something I know I need definitely.
And no,
anyway,
huh?
I just got out of another.
No, you didn't. It didn't piss
bad
me off. It was
relationship
just
that,
irritating because it was something that could have waited.
Hang on. Okay, you're good.
Well, that was interesting.
Yeah, talk about the dark night of the.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Timing is
Anyway,
everything.
I just got out of another codependent relationship. I just realized, I mean, within the last maybe 3 months, that I just keep repeating a cycle. Every relationship I've ever been in, and a lot of it has to do with a low sense of self-worth that I kind of developed after a very traumatic incident when I was like 5 years old. And I just realized now that I've been looking at the world and everything in a warped perspective. And I've been putting myself in relationships with basically, energy vampires. They just, they latch on to me, and next thing I know, I take on their issues, which is a bad thing. So,
So wait. Is it possible though that in a previous life you were the energy vampire?
Yeah,
yeah.
I totally get that. I get that karma, comes back, and you experience what you've done to others. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Yeah.
So the thing is that I'm really, really, really trying to avoid passing on an abusive legacy that I kind of grew up with, so that's one reason why I never had children, is I didn't trust myself, because I went through a lot of corporal punishment, shall we say, as a young child, go get me a tree to beat you with kind of thing, that kind of stuff. So didn't do that, but I keep putting myself in relationships where I'm basically buying people's affection, and that's just not a way to live. So now I realize, hey, you know what? I have some self-worth, and I'm just not going to do that anymore. That's just, that's the big lesson I've learned, I think, in the last week, is that, you got to love yourself. You got to forgive yourself when you get out of the dark night, because, you have to experience that negative shadow part of you that you don't really ever want to look at, and you got to bring it out. You got to examine it, and you got to own it, and then you got to forgive yourself for it. That's kind of where I'm at right now, is I'm trying to move forward and find my
What
new
was-
tribe of people, you know.
When was the last time you surrendered?
Gosh, about 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
when I was listening, because I mean, you know, everything you're saying is just, you know, it's like, yeah, it's right. What he's saying is spot on. That's what has to happen. So, you know, I realize that I've always been my own biggest enemy. I have always tried to force things to happen instead of just letting them develop the way the universe wants them to develop. And, you know,
I think that happens to a lot of us.
well, the thing is that recognizing a problem is 50% of, you know, finding some kind of solution. And at least now that I know what I'm doing, I am going to go out and seek, you know, professional counseling to see if I can, you know, find some strategies and some ways to develop a really healthy self-image, you know, and just move forward.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, you know.
That's awesome. It takes a lot of going within. I think that's what makes it so much easier, if that's such a thing. I don't think it's ever easy, but especially for introverts, because it is easier for us to go within to look for those answers than it is for the extrovert to do.
Yeah. And I mean, I realize that I have got to start not reacting to what happens to me immediately. I've got to take a step, take a breath, you know, think about what I'm doing, think about what I'm going to say, think about what's next before I, you know, act out like a crazy person. And makes a lot of sense. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, open the floor for the next one.
Okay. On YouTube, Ann is saying, "I'm with you, Gary."
Well, you know,
We're loved, Gary.
we're all just walking each other home, really. You know, we're all on a, you know, everybody's path is individual, but we're all trying to head, I think, in the same direction now. That's the main thing, you know, is compassion, unconditional love, and just, you know, joyous living.
You know, I just heard something today. I'm a big fan of Ben Stewart. He's the one that put out that video, Esoteric Agenda and Kymatica. He's got a show on Gaia TV where he was talking about, you are the culmination of your 5 closest friends. And it's so true. If you look at, you know, everybody that's here, if we just keep meeting and growing together, we are the culmination of each other as we keep lifting each other up. So that's why this is so important, I think. And we are, you know, what you're experiencing, we're all experiencing, I think, you know, and it's one way of all of us helping each other cleanse by talking.
Well, I mean, every time I see you have a chat on, I log in, because even if I don't say anything, I just feel a real positive energy, positive vibe from everything. And it's always uplifting. So, you know, why not? Follow your bliss, you know, do what makes you happy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, even something like this, well, you know me well enough that, you know, I always try to keep things positive, you know.
Yeah.
And the dark night of soul, how do you make something like this positive? Well, there's a lot of positive things that are happening out of it. You know, the cup's always half full. Half full. I'm putting it up. It's more than half full. But yeah,
well, I mean, it's like you said, that's where your growth really happens, is going through that experience and incorporating it, and then making up your mind to move forward in a, you know, with your head held up, and, you know, change your perspective and get out there and live your life. You know, I mean, I'm co-creating my existence right now, and I'll be darned if I'm going to focus on the past anymore. I'm just looking for the future, you know? I mean, what happened has happened, and what's happened has transpired, and it needed to happen, you know?
the future is incredibly bright too.
They say to embrace it, recognize it, embrace it, and say, I appreciate you, but I don't need it anymore, and let it go.
Thank
Well,
you.
that's what I'm doing. The people that were in the situations in the last, 5 or 6 years of my life when I went through such a major transformation, I'm constantly, you know, when I think of them, I'm constantly not thinking negative things. I'm trying to send them love and light and positive thoughts, and I thank them for, you know, the lesson, because everything's either a blessing or a lesson. It's true, you know, one way or the other, you're going to learn.
Well, you got fans on YouTube that are commenting to you, so.
Well, I never read those comments, so I appreciate it. You know, I'm not on YouTube, but I might just log off of here and get onto YouTube and just see what everybody says. You know, why not? But then again, I'm my own fan now. You know, I mean, that's the way I got to look at it. Is, you know, I got to put my interests out there. I got to take care of myself, because I have been taking care of other people and putting myself, you know, secondary, and it's led me to a lot of major, you know, health issues and stuff like
Yeah.
that I could have avoided if I'd just been more aggressive and, you know, hey, I know I can't do that right now. I need to take a shot right now, you know, that kind of thing.
Well,
So
that's, you know, that's one thing too about being empathic and also being positive. You know, a lot of people will try to suck the energy off of you. And even though we have unlimited energy, it can get overwhelming, and you still feel that energy being sucked from you. That's the overwhelming part. Yeah, we have unlimited energy, but you know, being empathic and all, you know, there's only so much you can take. And when it's constantly happening.
well, I mean, it's like you're trying to carry the entire world on your back, and you just can't do it. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, if I could, I would empty out all the animal shelters so no more animals would suffer, you know, and there would be no hungry children, and there would be no you know, all this stuff. But I'm just one person right now. I got to realize, you know, I'm contributing just by putting out love and light and positive thoughts to the world right now. And that's
How cool would it be? All right, let's put this out there into the aether.
okay.
Every hungry child gets one of those animals that's in a shelter, and not to eat, obviously.
Right.
No,
I was wondering where you're going with that.
They all have unlimited food and an animal to play with from a shelter. How cool would that be?
Aw,
Let's
that would be
manifest that.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, every children's hospital should just be full of animals, puppies and kittens
I
and
agree.
cats and dogs and rabbits and everything. Because talk about unconditional love. That's you know, that's how nature shows us unconditional love is our pets, I think. Because
Have
you
you
know,
seen
I
a lot of
rescue both of mine, and they thank me every day. I know they do. You know.
Yeah.
Gary,
wanna
have you seen a lot of these coffee shops and places are opening now with letting stray dogs and cats come in where people can sit and pet them and then choose to adopt them? I think that's amazing. They're taking them off the street and shelters, and people can just come in and play with them. So these animals are getting affection and new homes while they're getting their coffee or having a drink.
This was my dark night of the soul first dog that passed. This was Bogey, and I love that idea too. I think that's a wonderful idea.
What a
But
great photo.
I ended up burying Bogey with his frisbee, and this was after
Aw.
he had over $10,000 in surgery. My daughter was playing with him in the backyard of our house in upstate New York before we moved to Florida, and she threw the ball up in the air, and he jumped up to catch it, and he landed on a tree root and snapped his leg. His right leg in like 4 different places, and they messed up the surgery in New York, but we were on our way moving to Florida, and we came down here, and it was Dr. Colin Hay who made my German Shepherd's dog, his leg healthy again. And I took this picture and sent it to Dr. Hay after he did all the surgery, and Bogey was okay to play frisbee then. You can see how far off the ground he's jumping and how high in the air. And it just made my dog's life so much better, because that's what he lived to do, was to play frisbee. And you know, but he only lived like an extra couple years after that, and that was it for him. But and then this was my other shepherd who recently died. This was Sammy. He was a black shepherd, and I taught him how to catch frisbees also. So this is like a few years ago, this back in 2015. But you could throw the frisbee with either one of these shepherds as far as you want, and they'll outrun it and catch it. You'll see him jumping right here. Yeah. So yeah, that's I totally get it with the dogs and animals, and you know, the love that they bring to us. It hurts when we lose them, but you know, especially as part of the dark night of the soul. But I do feel that we will see them in the end.
We will. I think you know, everything that we've interacted with, I think we're gonna, you know, we'll keep encountering, because, you know, in dimension after dimension, life after life, you know. At least that's how I like to think about it.
I totally agree. Yeah. Okay, if anyone else wants to jump in and talk about the dark night of the soul, you're more than welcome to. Thank you, Gary, once again.
My pleasure.
I can give my story. I have two parts. I went through a dark night of the soul before I had my actual spiritual awakening, and it was long. It was a good 10 years, and it was similar to his. It was a relationship. I was a very young mother, and I met my son's father in high school. So I was 19 when I got pregnant and 20 when I had my son. And I grew up in divorce. My mother was married 5 times. So I always believed her being a child in that environment of moving around, going through divorce. I went to 4 high schools, like 3 middle and elementary schools. I wanted to stay with that person I was with because I never wanted to put my children through it. Well, unfortunately, the gentleman I chose, a couple years into our relationship, he got into drugs. And it started slowly and it progressed to the point where he started stealing, and he tried to hide it from me, and he was stealing from our son, like our son's piggy bank. He stole money, Xboxes, cameras, video cameras, jewelry from me. It got so bad I had to hide money under my mattress and sleep on it if I had money in my purse. And I mean, it got to the point where I had my own checking account separate, and I was paying bills from that, and checks were bouncing, and he was forging fake checks. And I mean, my life was so rough at that point in time. And I was in school full time. I was working as a bartender and working a day job in sales. And I was trying to make it work, and I was hiding it from my son and being, you know, overcompensating and trying to be that extra parent where, you know, you buy them stuff and, you know, you read them bedtime stories and you coddle them and you don't let them see that daddy's gone all night doing whatever. And, you know, so he has no idea. When I finally left his father, he was 6 or 7 years old. So thankfully he was very young. But I think it was my internal struggle from what I went through with my mother, seeing her get married so many times and moving around, that I put myself through that because I thought it was what I had to do. And it took a reality check for me to realize, you know, I'm doing this, you know, to appease myself, but in turn it's hurting my child, it's hurting everybody around me. And it's not about what I want. It's about he's gonna get better when he's ready. I couldn't control the narrative is what I'm saying. You know, it was in his own time he had to realize, which he now, by the way, is sober and he's got a good relationship with my son. My son's 19 years old. So things have changed over the years, but it took an act of Congress for me to leave him. I mean, all my family was involved. I tried putting him in rehab 3 times because I had that mentality, like, I'm going to make it work. I can fix him. And you can't fix people. And you need to understand that everybody has their own journey. But it was real rough there for a long time. I mean, it was bad. So what it led me to was I found the type of person that I wanted to be with, who is now my husband. We've been together for 11 years. And he's amazing. I went from somebody who lied about the sky, like the color of the sky, to somebody who's so brutally honest, sometimes it hurts. So I went from like the complete opposite, but I appreciate his honesty because I was in a relationship for so many years with somebody that lied to me. But I learned so much through that, but it was a very scary time in my life. I didn't know where food was coming from the next day. I didn't know what I'd come home to missing in my house. I got to the point right when I left him, I was scared of who was going to come to my house. So it was a very scary time. But my second dark night of the soul just happened recently, which we discussed in one of your previous videos when I had my spiritual awakening. years later, which is started in 2017, where I lost that ego. Ego went out the door. I was in sales for years, and just one day I woke up and I just realized I couldn't do it anymore. And I was in staffing in the temp industry and staffing like employment agencies for years. And I would sell these businesses on doing business with me. And I was very arrogant and cocky because I knew I was good at what I did. And my husband and I opened a business and it was flourishing. And like I said, one day I woke up and I'm like, nope, I can't do this anymore. Like I have no substance to my life. Like I don't know. I wanted to create. I just had this urge that I just couldn't do it anymore. So we sold our business. The company I worked for put my ego in check. They pretty much stole my business from me, took all my accounts away, badmouthed my name. And initially at the end, we parted ways. And I went through a very scary time when that happened, because I'm like, who am I? I was like, my business and everything I did, I defined myself by that. Like, this is me, you know, I'm the staffing girl, I'm amazing. And when I lost all of that, I didn't know who I was. And that's when my awakening started. I was at home every day, started watching documentaries, became a vegan, and then my spiritual experiences started happening. And I've actually been going through it now for 3 years. I've been applying for jobs. I haven't found what I'm looking for, and I'm just trying to figure out who I am. And I'm kind of going through like a whole, I don't know, period of time in my life where I'm just figuring out who I really am and what I want in life. And it's rough. I mean, I don't have an income right now, really. My husband, thankfully, is being so supportive and amazing through all this, but I'm really trying to figure out who I am. And it's scary. Like, spiritual awakenings are scary. Dark night of the soul is scary because you really have to look within. Like, you're looking in the mirror at yourself and seeing every flaw that you have and understanding what life is and what you want and who you are
Let
as
me
a
ask you the
person.
same question I asked Gary. When was the last time you surrendered?
I'm working on that right now. I actually pretty much doing that right now as we speak. I'm realizing a lot right now about myself. So yeah, I'm going through that right now as we speak.
Yeah, me too.
I actually had a little chat with myself yesterday about everything. So, but yeah, I don't know.
What advice would you have for those people, seeing how you've already gone through it once before? What advice would you give to people that are experiencing a dark night of the soul?
Just go with the flow. Don't fight it. Like I said, I was a control freak. So I was always trying to control the situation and the narrative. And I was in turn hurting myself more and dragging the process out, you know. So don't fight it, embrace it. And
Yeah, I would agree.
That's the best I can explain
Yeah.
it. But on a good note, I did just get a job like in the past week and I love it. So things are changing and there is like a brighter light in my house right now and I'm figuring out a lot of things. So I have been on an uptick. I mean, it was pretty bad there for a while,
Well,
but
congratulations on that. That's a good thing. Good sign.
sometimes it takes longer for certain. I mean, this has been
Right.
ongoing for a couple years, but I guess I needed it. You know, we learn from everything we experience. So
All right.
I've learned a
Well,
lot.
thank you for sharing that those experiences with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
A quick shout out to Tamara Biddle, who's our latest member of the N5D Patreon family. She's driving home listening to us right now. So pay attention to the road. Next, if anyone wants to jump in right now, you're more than welcome to. We're talking about the dark night of the soul. You know, if you want to jump in, now's the time. Everybody's officially unmuted right now. Bam.
What's up, Greg?
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How you doing, Matthias?
I'm doing great.
It's
Actually,
kind of
I had
cold
a
where
dark
you
night.
are.
Yeah, it's been snowing. Yeah, I want to talk about my dark night of the soul. So I think I've already kind of like briefly talked about this on your channel before, but kind of wanted to go in depth. It was about a year ago actually, and I was with my friends I had spoken about before.
All right, time out. Tell
And-
everyone how old you are first.
I am 16 years old.
And you're already going through the dark night of the soul. That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was very, very powerful. It wasn't over a long period. It was very short, but tremendously powerful, like to the point where I had just got ripped everything out, like every ego, everything I thought I was. And like you said, surrendering was the only thing you could do. Like the more you fought it, the more powerful it got. And with that, you just, yeah, so I'll talk about it. But so I had actually used the teaching plant of psychedelic mushrooms, and I'd been with a couple of my friends at the time, and these kids, they didn't really know who they were either. We were all kind of just a little naive, but also I had a little bit of awareness of that when you put an intention towards a teacher drug or a teacher plant like that, you will get an outcome from it. So I had the intention of trying to find out who I was and find out more about myself and what I need to be doing in my life. So when I took this, I immediately started feeling, about 20 minutes into it, I started feeling this strong, deep, sharp pain in my solar plexus chakra. And the more and more, the more time that went on, the more this pain was getting like worse and worse. And so we got up, we started walking, and it was just getting so bad that I didn't know what to do. And I thought maybe that, I don't know if it was laced or they're bad mushrooms, or, I didn't know what was really going on at all. And so I was like, okay, guys, I'm getting really sick. I need to go lay down. So I went back to inside his house and laid down for a bit. And I was just, still laying there, and my disassociation started going. And, when we look at reality right now, we perceive as it's just us perceiving out. But when I was on these psychedelics, my disassociation started, and I was seeing 4 versions of everything, and it was horrible. It was like almost as if, you just weren't whole at all. You felt very incomplete or fragmented. And I was kind of getting worried, but so I decided to go for a walk, and I went out to this field, and I was thinking that if I was to meditate, maybe I could become whole with myself again. And at this point, my ego death had started going in, and it was getting tremendously intense. So I sat in a meditation, and when I went into myself and faced myself, it got like 10 times more intense. And I was, because normally when you are feeling disassociative, meditation like helps 100%. That in my experience, like when you're not on drugs and stuff, but this had made it more intense to the point where I didn't know what was going on. So I literally laid down in the field, and I told myself, if I'm going to die, let me die. Whatever happens, let it happen.
So you surrender.
And
That was your
Yep.
your way of surrendering at that point.
Yeah, it was tremendously powerful. And I laid in the, I was just, it was like the earth absorbed me. That's what it felt like. It absorbed that energy and rebirthed me pretty much into who I am today. And it was so powerful. Words cannot describe it at all. Like if you try to describe, like even this is not even, but so yeah, I came back from that field after having laying out there for probably, I don't know how long it was, but it felt like hours, but it's probably only like 20 minutes. And it slowly started to get better and better. And I made my way back to my friend's house, and they weren't there, but I had looked in the mirror, and right as I looked in the mirror, the disassociation stopped, and it went back into center. and all aspects of myself went into one, and I could see myself whole and complete. And I saw myself for who I truly was, and it was so powerful. And I love myself more than anything in this world. Nothing can break me anymore, and that's a great feeling. And I know every single one of you is going to find that at some point in your life. You're going to find who you are, and you're going to become whole and complete, and you're going to start creating something beautiful with your experience that you've had, because everyone's experience is unique, and that's why we're creating this tapestry. It's all one tapestry, but we all have our unique tapestries, and they come together at the end to make everything. That's why everyone has a purpose in this lifetime, and that's why we're all in this together. Even at the darkest times where it seems everything's divided, we're actually building stuff, even in the background.
If there was a way for you to put that into an article,
Right.
I would publish that on N5D.
Are you sure you're 16 years old?
I'm probably
I
like
know, that's what I was thinking.
thousands of years old, but
God.
I'm
You are
16
definitely
years
an
old in
old
this lifetime.
soul. You are very
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was beautiful.
That
Thank
was.
you.
Yeah. What
When you said
advice
that
would you give other people going through the dark night of the soul at this point?
Wow. Okay, so I don't really have experience with long-term dark night of the souls, because I've only went through short-term ones. But definitely surrendering to your situation, because you whatever you have going on, you can't change the narrative of it, like
100%.
whatsoever. Yeah, it is what it is, and you have to surrender to what it is. And if you don't, exactly, yeah, you have to. Oh, someone's echoing.
Yeah, hang on.
So yeah, just it is what it is. That's all. I mean,
when you said you laid down in the field, I pictured in my mind of Gaia just putting her arms around you.
Yes, I pictured that too. The
Thought
earth
of
like hugging him.
yeah. That's what it felt like. Like, it just, you can't describe the energy of what I had just went through, in that experience, with words, but it felt something along the lines of that, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Matthias, for sharing with that. And I had a question. We'll continue on with other experiences here, but there was a question in the YouTube chat room about, it was from Andrea Jordan. And she said, what does it mean to surrender? So I'm just going to go to this, and I'll leave a link for this as well below the more info. There's an article here on N5D. It's called The Importance of Surrendering. So on April 18th, I received what I can only call a galactic download of information from Source. Basically, it was like a huge interactive hologram that contained everything I needed to know about what I was supposed to do with my life. At the time, I was a child and family therapist for at-risk youth, and I kind of told you guys about this earlier. But I knew that there was more I needed to do on a higher level. So after watching The Secret, I surrendered myself to Creator Source and asked, what am I supposed to do next? That's when I received my galactic download, specifically that told me what I needed to do to build this website in order to raise the critical mass while bringing soul groups and star families together, which is what we're doing right now. I was told that I needed to do interviews, radio shows, conferences, etc. And I told them, you got the wrong guy. I'm an introvert. To which they said, no, you're the one for the job. Excuse me. I was even given the name N5D for my website. The Secret led me to so many profound events in my life, but nothing bigger than when I surrendered. At the point of surrendering, you place complete trust that Creator Source will lead you to whatever your life path is bringing you. This involves letting go of any control issues you may have and placing complete trust that Creator Source will lead you in the right direction. So if you're having control issues right now, if you're a controlling person, it's going to be extremely hard for you to fall back knowing that Creator's going to be there. You can't have one question in your mind that'll say, what if he's not there or she's not there, whatever. Trust, complete trust. Most people cannot do this with complete faith that Creator Source is there looking out for you. It's kind of like falling backwards and trusting that creator source will catch you. In the end, it's your higher self catching you as you realize there is no separation between you, your higher self, and creator source. So with that, that's it goes on to talk about a little bit more, Andrea, but that's basically what surrendering is. When you just know without question, 100%, when you're falling back, you know that creator source is going to catch you. You relinquish all forms of control. So with that being said, if anyone wants to jump in right now and talk about your dark night of the soul, feel free to.
Greg,
Yes.
hi. I have a kind of a different viewpoint in
Okay.
some of this because I really, what I've gotten over the years is I was born awake, and that because we're here I'm here for the collective. Besides being here for myself, I'm also here. My job is to be here for the collective. I really feel the collective. I really have felt since childhood that sense of oneness.
Boy, talk about dark night. It's kind of dark where you're at right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to move. I turned lights on. It wasn't good enough.
That's okay.
That sense of oneness that I felt, that love I felt for humanity, but always I was kept a bit separate. I was an only child, no input, very naive, that sort of thing. And a lot of my experiences as I've gotten older, I see people acting out around my energy, and I'm like, okay, they're acting out, and I've learned to deal with it better and better and better over the years. And I've gone through lots of what I call thumb of God experiences. Like, no, you're going to be here and you're going to do this now. And you don't have a choice, So, and I surrender. I work with that all day, every day, surrender. I am divine will in form and all that. But what I get ultimately is this experience of, okay, I'm here transmuting this for the collective. And the more I transmute this for the collective, the more I support the collective, the more I support myself, because I'm first, because I have to take really good care of myself at this point. The more I feel uplifted energetically. So the energy frequencies elevate, and they don't elevate because of the experience I'm having in life, with someone. Even though like when I was 11, everyone around me was like, you need to be a psychologist. And I was like, oh, no way. I'm going to be I knew then I didn't want to do that. But not because of the way I interrelate, because I support people and I give them love, and I watch them shy away from real love, and I watch them, and I mean real love is unconditional. Just, here, you want that? Oh, here, give you that. Okay, you want that? You want to do that? Whatever. You need help with that? Here it is. And they, so, but this transmutation process for the collective is so still I'm wrapping my head around it, because we have how many light workers across the globe that we don't even know about. And we'll just put a number so we can use it mathematically. Let's say we have 144,000 times of light workers around the world. And each of those light workers came in to have certain experiences, because every light worker I've met has had a rough time. I haven't met any that have had a really easy time of life. So I'm waiting. But here, all these people are going through all these variety of experiences in this lifetime. I mean, sometimes I feel like, oh, I've lived how many lifetimes this week, and we're going and transmuting this for the collective, because the energy is shifting so rapidly now. And it's shifting, to me, through our hearts, through our experience, through our surrender, through our support, through our love, that I mean, we make it ours, but if we didn't make it ours, we wouldn't volunteer to do this, would we? Would you volunteer to go through like hell on purpose? You know, and no, my vote is no.
On this side of the veil, no. On the other
No,
side of the veil, we would
yes,
if we knew that it was going to
right,
help other people as
right.
well
And
as
that's
ourselves.
exactly, and that's what I really truly feel. I mean, I'm 61 now. I've lived so many lifetimes in this lifetime. I feel that, you know, every time I turn around, oh, new this, new career, new friends, new this, new life, and then it just goes on and on and on. And I've died so many times. You know, I've died officially almost 3 times, and I've gone through the dark night of the soul like daily, multiple times a day. The phoenix comes, and I choose to live. I choose to live. I choose to live. Okay, I'll stay. I'll stay. I'll stay. I'll go through this. I'll stay. I'll stay. And so we wouldn't choose that on purpose in form, but of course we've chosen it on the other side. And so if you put all this together, I see this dance of transmutation taking place that is obviously phenomenal, because the energy is shifting, it is moving, the frequencies are going up daily. So how could it not be, to me, my viewpoint, how could it not be that the light workers are supporting humanity as the eye, as the middle of the eye, in a phenomenal way? And then there's all these light workers across the globe that we don't know about. Sorry, I have an ancient dog that's having a hard time with the energy. He's a Chihuahua. He's having a real hard time with the energy. He gets CBD. He gets loads of care. Anyway, there's all these light workers across the globe that we don't know about, that are working in tandem, doing all these different healings and different supports for humanity, for the collective. I mean, I know I've done it with my husband with intention for over 10 years. I mean, it just makes sense to me that we wouldn't volunteer for this.
Not down here, no.
No.
But yeah, definitely on the other side, I think a lot of us did. I think that's what, you know, Dolores Cannon was talking about, you know, hearing the call, basically. You know, did you hear the call of Earth saying that she needed help? And here we are.
I know a lady in particular that I'm friends with, that I know she heard the call because she's never been a human before. Her soul has never been a human before. So she's really had a challenge being human, learning to be human, and all the things that have occurred to her because of the support she gets, because of the frequency she brought in, that she was able to bring this frequency into form. So, you know, it's really fascinating how much each of us have signed up for. It's phenomenal.
You know, the other day I was talking about how for some of us, it's difficult communicating in the third dimensional reality. It doesn't seem like language is our preferred way of communicating. To me, it seems like it'd be a lot easier to communicate sending somebody a hologram filled with all the information that I needed to talk about. And then, you know, without having to.
Just like a download. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a download. But somebody made a comment also saying that while they're here, they like, you know, the different inflections that we put into our speech, and, you know, you have different dialects and everything like that, you know, that they do appreciate. And that's a wonderful way of looking at it too, you know, while you're here, to appreciate the simplicity of what we have through this third dimensional way of conversing with one another.
Well, that is also probably why so many of us have to learn to speak to each other. That is like, you say that you're, you know, the people that say that they're intimidated by speaking, or they're uncomfortable, or that they're introvert, or any of those things, it, you know, that to me could come from the brain is scientifically proven to be a hologram. And because the brain is a hologram, we see when our third eye is even, we're reading a book and our third eye is showing us the pictures. Now, 20% of the population can't see pictures in their third eye, but their third eye is being shown, is showing them the pictures in the book as they're reading the book. So the book becomes like a movie in their head.
Yeah.
So
can I interrupt just a second?
Yes,
I just want to point out something. Check out the Schumann resonance chart right now. Like once again, when we're on here on one of these chats, looks like to me it's kind of like pegging. So, Greg, if you can, I can't.
Yeah,
pull
I'll
up
do
stuff,
a
man,
screen share. Hang on.
last night was the K index was in the red last night. I got so sick.
Yep.
Yeah, it's busy.
Definitely active.
Yeah, the busy part is last night.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's busy. Can you screen share the K index? Yeah, the busy part is last night.
I can't myself.
Oh,
no.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely some activity going on on the Schumann, that's for sure.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're
interesting
awesome.
in that it seems like the energies aren't only affecting us, but our energy is affecting the planet also.
Oh yeah,
I really
absolutely.
think so. Because we're affecting the energy coming in also.
Like hairs, all the little hairs, all the light workers are hooked up inside the grids, all the multiple dimensions and realities. We're all hooked up, and because we're all hooked up with these little fine hairs, they're fine to us, but they're all that's needed. We bring our energy together. Then when we bring our energy together and we include all the light workers, all the awakened. We don't even have to say awakened, because even if they're not awake in this lifetime, they've been awakened last lifetimes. We bring together a really, really powerful energy, and it can't be denied. Well, you can deny it, but to me, I can't deny it because I feel it. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my take on the dark night of the soul.
I appreciate that.
Karen, can we be best friends, please? How do I get a hold of you? I love you.
Absolutely. I love you. Thank you. I love everyone. So you guys have saved me, because people act out with me and I have to go back and reflect. Did I do this? Did I say that? No, my energy is so strong at this point. I just and I'm honest. I'm honest in a loving way, though. But I'm honest, and anyway, you guys are saving me too. I love you. Thank you.
Well,
we love
always
you.
love hearing from you, and thank you for sharing once again, Karen.
Thank you.
So if anyone else wants to jump right in, you're more than welcome to. The floor is yours. Somebody's echoing right now.
Yeah, I hear that.
Someone has their YouTube on that's in Zoom.
I can't figure out how to fix it. I'm not used to the
Okay,
Zoom.
Mike, if you're in Zoom, you don't need YouTube on, because you're ahead of time here. You're in the future here on Zoom.
How to fix it? Okay.
So you can click out of YouTube, or just mute YouTube if you want, if you're following along on chat. I've got YouTube set up on a different laptop over here, but it's muted, so I can still read the comments.
Okay.
So if you have YouTube muted, you're good to go.
Yeah, I closed that window.
Oh, great. Yeah, I don't hear the echo.
Okay, good.
All right.
Sorry, I was trying to figure that out for a while.
You did it. All right. This is your first time here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
What brings you onto Zoom tonight?
I think, you know, I have an appointment with your wife tomorrow morning.
My wife?
Is it your wife? About the walk-in. Sorry, maybe I'm confused about that.
No, I'm not married.
Okay.
No rings.
Okay. She had a link to you somehow, and yeah, I'm sorry, I got confused too.
That's okay.
Just I saw you and I recognized you, so I thought, let me drop in and see, you know, what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow she gave a link to you.
Okay, that's cool. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm 0 for 2 on marriages. There's not gonna be a third one. So have you experienced the dark night of the soul?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a walk-in and my host went through the dark night of the soul.
All right, because I totally get the walk-in experience. Why don't you tell people about what a walk-in is?
Well, my host called for me. I was, you know, I introduced I connected with him. So we're all part of the soul. We're part of the same soul group. So he started having problems with the dark night of the soul and became very unstable and called me. So I came and helped him and then now merged with him. So, you know, that's an experience that not many people are familiar with. So
How did you know, Mike? I'm curious. I mean, how did you know you were a walk-in?
basically, I'm on the lighted path. High intuition, psychic abilities, and a lot of spirit contacts. So I didn't.
Oftentimes when you have a walk-in, you'll notice like personality traits change. For myself, my ex-wife and my daughter would see them change within me. There'd be certain things that all of a sudden I like something. For example, it might be like, I'm using this for an example. I don't like it, but I'd say spinach. I still don't like spinach, but maybe this walk-in does. Or what I notice most specifically is, you know, I'm a musician, and I used to play in a bunch of hard rock bands, and that's my preferred kind of music that I play. But like my last walk-in liked music from the big band era and swing music, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool, you know. And I realized, yeah, that all right, another walk-in came in. So
I was just curious because I've never heard somebody actually talk about it, and I myself have been researching it and wondering if I've been a walk-in since my awakening, because I'm completely different than the previous person I was.
Yeah,
and I've had spirit contact a lot. That's what scared me during my awakening. So I might want to talk to you, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a very interesting process trying to help the host and getting some results and some, you know, walls. So you know, I'm working very hard, trying to set his life back on a path of positivity. So basically, we're like partners. We do things together, and I love him. So it looks like he's staying around for right now. I don't know how long that'll last exactly, but his vibration is very kind of like messed up, scattered, kind of unstable. So, you know, basically, I'm taking charge of trying to fix all these things up that happened in his life that created a lot of depression and anxiety.
Mike, just curious, how long ago, has this been about a year?
Just about 2.5 months ago, we merged. So I was here in the field, in this aura field, but we just now merged.
Okay,
just
because
about-
there's a high vibrational walk-in that occurred about a year ago, and I'm waiting to see him. He came in as to volunteer to help, and he came in as a walk-in. So you're another one that has come in. Bless you. Welcome.
Yeah, it's a lonely existence because anyone you tell this to thinks you're nuts at best, and it's hard to explain. It's very hard to explain, but like there's a connection between him and me. I can't exactly tell you everything about it, but I can feel it. But I did feel like I'm Dark Cloud, so I felt like this was my wife in another lifetime, named Alcia. And I felt like she needed me, and I came here, and I kind of feel like husband energy, sort of like it's a strange thing to try to describe.
No, I
but,
totally get it. Your charge is the male charge. And the who you walked into is the female, more strongly with the female charge. And you've
Yep.
come in here as a male charge to balance the male and female charge within this. And the two things I see that I look at now over the years I've learned to look at is, what does your process be? I don't want you to share this. What does your processor look like? Because we have a geometry, a processor that is a crystalline processor. And then what is your soul geometry? Don't share. And what is the person you've walked into's processor and their geometry? And with the light, you can probably, with your light and the balance of the male and female energies, your amperage, your amperage, and then the other one's voltage. And that with that process, you can bring balance. And then from the balance, you guys can decide what to do next.
That's interesting.
So the
Yeah.
processor I'm talking about is the processor, when later you'll know it, okay? And if you don't recognize it, because it's hard to name, but it's a triangular, and everyone's looks different. It's a triangular crystalline etheric processor, and it helps you bring in these downloads. It helps you bring in the energy, and it is really vital to me for your psychic support, and then everybody, like I said, everyone's looks different. So your host will have a different processor than you. Then your soul geometry is very different from that, but it still has that triangulations within it. So that might help you once you can sit with that. It'll just ask for it, intend for it to be shown to you. It'll come up. You'll see it.
Okay. Well, right now I have my host's memories, so I've forgotten everything else. I have
It'll
all his
come.
memories.
It'll come. It'll come because you intend it. Just
Okay.
set intention. It'll come in a picture form, and then you ask, okay, I want to identify, is this Mike's, or is this, you need a name as a host, is this mine, right? And then
I'm Dark Cloud and he's Mike.
oh, okay, I'm sorry, I forgot that. So Dark Cloud, you ask just whose geometry is this? Whose crystalline geometry is this? Whose soul geometry is this? And your guys will tell you, right off. because I mean, you got an army of guides around you as well, I'm sure, from your soul group.
Yeah, there's a tribal council that knows Mike very well,
Mm-hmm.
love him, and
Mm-hmm.
he's got a lot of support.
Yeah, we all do here. You know, like the rooms are crowded. We just don't, to me, the rooms are crowded. We just don't see them.
Yeah. I actually brought one spirit with me once to help me because Mike was having some very heavy vibes. And so we worked on it. It's been very interesting, but it's hard to tell family about it. You know, I just tell the family, and I don't care what people think. Of course, I'm kind of all alone now, but I mean, you know, that's the way it is. So basically, you know, Mike has some problems that I've been trying to overcome, and I'm hitting some walls. I've kind of got a little worn out a couple of times, but still working on everything. Have made a lot of improvements, though, you know. But I want everything at once. I've been working hard, very determinedly, and
Mike,
so,
there's people in the chat room that get it as well. You know, you're not alone. There's a lot of people here that get it and understand it, myself included. I've had at least, you know, 8 or 9 walk-ins. My last one, as a matter of fact, they'll come in, they can be male or female. It's not going to change who you are specifically. You know, I'm still the same guy I've always been. My last one was female, and her name was Laura, Lora, which I kind of interpreted as Lo Ra, like Ra being the sun, horizon, Horus, you know, that kind of thing as well. You know, so you get messages and clues with the names that you get as well. But you know, it doesn't. I still have all the memories I have of me being who I am, and you know, I still am basically the same person, but I got this other aspect of me now that I'm sharing. And
yeah, that's
I totally get it, though.
Okay, I have a question of Greg and Mike. So would you consider this? You know, I've done integration now for a really long time. I've done intentional integration. So all the aspects of me live here on this planet and beyond, right? But I've done, like, you know, master integration, specific integration. So could you fathom a walk-in being part of your integration process with the whole?
Sure, I can see that. Yeah,
that's how I feel about it.
It's kind of like when you do that third eye mirror meditation, and I'll try to remember to leave a link on that below. But you know, you set up this mirror in front of you, and you have a candle, you shut off all the lights, and you focus on your third eye and just let things go. And what happens is you'll see your body morph into all these different people, fragments basically of yourself or aspects of yourself.
Yes,
and, you know, that's probably what we're tapping into, and what you're mentioning, Karen, is what we're helping to maybe reassimilate back into ourselves.
Yes, because you know, intending integration is different, a little different from just having it happen. Okay. Because like some people just have awakening happen, some people intend awakening to happen. You know, there's these little, you know, they're not little, but there's these variances. But you know what it sounds like to me, this in this particular situation is you're really into a deep integration process. Really, Mike represents your soul group integration, because the monads have to integrate as we align with our flames. Our flames are all charged. Our flames are coming together into one flame with the cosmic flames. And as all this integration is occurring, as we're going through this awakening process, it's deep. And always there has to be, because we're informed, there has to be the protagonist and the antagonist within form. there always has to be the female and male charge. What we call the positive and negative, I look at as the female and male charge. And in this integration process, the antagonist has all these things to show us. And sometimes these things to show us, we call it, they're having difficulty. They're going through dark night of the soul. We have all these names for it, but it's really, to me, part of a deep integration process.
Yes, I feel that possibility, but that's why I can't explain everything, because I am feeling these things, and but there's no rules written on paper somewhere. I'm just experiencing it.
Right,
also,
there is nothing.
Also, Mike, oftentimes a walk-in will come in when, number one, when your soul has had enough and it just steps out. But number two, when you're ready to receive more light, you'll get a walk-in with even higher vibrations. So, you might be at that point where, okay, it's time to bring more light into this vessel.
Yeah,
And it's only been 2.5 months, so the discordance would be natural. Yeah,
there was an adjustment period. I was reading Yvonne Berry's book, and that has a lot of interesting things in it too about these things. So, in fact, I have an appointment with her tomorrow for a 15-minute discovery. So that'll be interesting.
Do you know what galaxy or part of the heavens you're from? Do you know?
All I have is Mike's memories now, and his memory's not that good. I mean, but that's what I have. At first, I came in knowing everything, and then it just changed. It just like went to his memories, and that's where it stands. But I know who I am, and I came knowing who I am, and he knows who I am, and so that was so. There was a lot of things that I knew at the beginning, but I suppose that there's reasons for forgetting all that and just being on the same vibe with him.
Well, you probably haven't forgotten them. What happens is, because the male and female charge voltage, let's just use voltage and amperage, right? So the energy's coming in, we change some, like at 4 o'clock, I got the chills. I was cold. At 6 o'clock, I was burning up. Okay. So the heat is amperage, the cool is voltage, female is cool, male is hot. Okay. So when we go, the energy's coming in is having us vacillate back and forth until we come to center, until the event. That, to me, is when everybody will be not voltage or amperage, but inclined, inclined. So that's the best I have for it right now. So what you're doing is actually, you haven't lost your memories, more than likely, because if you sit, meditate, and ask enough questions, what you need to know will just come, because knowing is a gift. It's right there. It's right in front of you, in front of you, like inside in front of you,
Yeah.
Knowing is one of the intuitive gifts. So I think what's happened is, because she's female, or he's female charge, that you've just gone that way. Now you may turn around one day and be a male, more of your your charge. And then it goes back and forth until it finds a balance. That's my viewpoint.
It does seem to be going back and forth, and at times it's together. But now it seems like we're merged, but we're still parts. So he's like that part, the depressive kind of part, and I'm that, soul guy part. We seem to be merged, but we still have our parts because we were parts. Yeah. So and
until until the energies come in and you get you go through the process that you need to go through, that there is no signpost for necessarily, right? There's no like, here's the direction, here's what to do. There's no instructions, so right now, about a month ago, I started asking questions for everything, and I'm highly intuitive. One of my best gifts is knowing. I just know like that. I know. And I started stopping and asking because the energy influx is so strong. So, it's not that, what you're saying to me is I have a distinctive positive and negative charge, that I'm going through this balancing period of these charges, and until that is complete, the integration isn't complete yet.
Yeah. He is kind of feminine in some ways, like kind of not strong, but I mean, not that that's a feminine way. It's just like she gives up. He gives up quickly. With the dark night of the soul happening. By the way, I was going to mention Yvonne Perry. She said in her book that if you have a surgery or injury like for unconsciousness, or if you went through the dark night of the soul, it opens up the ability for the walk-in to come in because you become unstable, and so it somehow opens up that. That's what I read in the book today. I'm still reading it.
I've gone through many dark nights of the soul, and lots of dying and all that, and I've never had a walk-in, but I think it has to do with my job. I have a job here, and the energy, I turned the lights on back in around 1994, 1995, that I was going to channel this light and bring it in to heal. And I was an artist. I was in school at the time. And I've never had a walk-in, but I totally get it. I think that your soul group, because big message I got a while back, I don't know when, because time is that the monads, our monad groups are becoming more apparent energetically, and your monad integration and how that works for your monad and your immediate monad. We have the immediate monad, and then we have the larger monad, and then the larger monad. Right? We have multiple monads, I think, because we have the closest group, like we say, certain people that we reincarnate with, and that kind of thing. Certain souls we reincarnate with, and then we have a larger group that we reincarnate with, and then we have the group that not everybody always reincarnates. And so the big message I got is that the monads and people from your monad are showing up. Now, to me, from everything you've said, is your monad is right around you, especially your immediate monad is right around you, and that Mike is part of your monad, and your monad is showing up for integration. And how you decide to integrate, how you choose to integrate, not just together, but as a group, will be like, you need to record everything. I think it'll be fascinating, because your monad is different from my monad. I'm asking, yes, okay, your monad's different. So your experiences with your monad, and who chooses, like you can ask right now, who chooses to come forth in this moment to integrate, right? And then you'll feel the energy come forward of your monad. And the intention is you're working with your monad. Well, the energies from that person, you have to ask, is this the right time to integrate these energies? Is this the right time to integrate this person? Because like I have a friend, her monad that comes to integrate are some aliens. Oh my God.
Karen, let me interject real quick here. Isn't it possible
for it.
Isn't it possible that his higher self will know at the right time to integrate, and we'll do that for him without him even needing to know himself when that has to happen or occur.
Yeah, I think it depends on the, yes, I will agree with you for some monads, but for some people, it's like, you know, because like he's saying, that person he's integrating with has a really strong negative charge. You have to look at right now, can I handle this integration? You know, like my friend has had integrations like come in and she's just accepted it without question, and she's gone through hell.
But I would think
Over
on a
and
higher
over.
level that yes, okay, so she's gone through hell, but don't you think that in the overall picture, there's a reason for her to going through that she, on a greater scale, she's really benefiting in the long run from having to go through that?
Well, or she can just like prepare herself and then integrate, you know, like it can, because time is, to me, time is not, is flexible in this sense, you know, when we integrate and how we integrate. It's all flexible. So if she's already having a hard time, if she's already low, right? And this comes up with an energies that, the energies are incredible too. And so anyway, she's doing better with it. It's happening better, in a better way for her. But everybody's different.
Karen, I have a question. That's why I'm so fascinated with everything you guys are discussing right now with each other. So I've been really quiet listening. But that's what I'm wondering, how I said, I'm wondering if I'm a walk-in, because when it happened, it was like immediate contact with my guides, immediate contact with all these different beings. I immediately became a vegetarian. I immediately started making bath and body products. Like, I completely changed as a person. I feel different than the Jessica previous. And I was told I'm Syrian. I know I never incarnated on Earth before. I was told that. Like, everything that's going on, I don't have confirmation that I'm a walk-in, but it feels like I am. I feel like I told my friend this last week, because I talked to her about this stuff, even though she's not really into all of it. She looks at it like woo-woo stuff, but I said, I feel like I'm a different person. I don't feel like I'm the Jessica. Like, I have her memories and I understand everything, but I don't remember everything. Like, people talk to me about stuff and I'm like, oh no, I don't remember that. Like,
Yeah,
I've lost a lot of memories, a lot.
I've lost a lot of memories just because there's so much going on energetically. Like, losing memories is a huge part of what's going on. But,
Okay.
you know, there's this line between the lies dropped and I got to be real versus a walk-in. You know, like Greg knows he had a walk-in. It's evident to him that there were walk-ins. And what my first sense from you is, oh, all the lies went away. And you know, when most people just cannot imagine how much buy-in and how many lies they tell themselves to get along with everybody and everything.
Yeah.
They can't fathom it. And I work with some elderly people, and I have an elderly friend right now, and she's like, oh, she's really got it go, you know, of course, going on, because she's had all these years to do it, right? But she's sweet. She's a good lady. But, you know, if you could look at, I think if you're questioning it, more than likely you're not a walk-in. The awakening caused you to stop lying. And when we stop lying, when we stop buying in, when we stop trying to pretend to be something we're not, it changes us completely, you know? And when you have a sharp awakening, shall we say, or a distinct awakening in a short period of time, then it is like, oh my gosh,
it was scary.
Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Because all the lies that generations of lies that are in your DNA, generations of lies, you know, your own generational lies from when you were born and all the things. Oh, if I do this, they'll hug me. They'll give me some love if I do this. They'll pay attention to me if I do this, you know, and
Well, part of
maybe
my
I could,
dark night of the soul was realizing, like, I had a wake up call, like, oh my God, I've been eating meat my whole life. How could I have done that? And I went through this whole depression about it, and like was rescuing stray animals on the street and like trying to not push the agenda on everybody, but educate people on it. What you're
yeah,
doing, like, it is, I guess you're right, you know, you do wake up from all the lies, like, oh my God, this is what I've been, you know, programmed my whole life to believe in. And then it's all of a sudden everything changes, and that's where I guess the
yeah.
dark
And
night of the soul comes from, depression
well,
and everything.
you know, waking up from all these lies is deep. You
Very.
know, it's deep. Self-sabotage is deep.
I am the queen of
Oh,
self-sabotage.
you
It's
know,
harsh.
We're gonna be covering that on a topic of its own.
right on.
Basically, the walk-in souls. I think it's an important topic
I think it
I
is
think
talk
so
too.
about.
too.
And I have
I
a
think
question
so
for you,
too.
Mike. But first, I just want to remind everyone, if you haven't subscribed yet to N5D YouTube channel, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to hit that bell notification. Give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying this as well. Mike, we've been talking about this, and you've heard a lot of people say the same thing. Many of us have surrendered. Have you done that yet?
Surrendered to
Yourself, the creator, source.
a creator. Yeah, I have.
When was the last time that you did that?
Basically, you know, I'm integrated with spirit and energy. So everything is kind of sourced to me, just like in different forms. And, you know, I'm experiencing like communication with spirits, with energies that help me. And it just feels a lot different from the way you feel 3 chakras or whatever they say you're running when you're lower. I think that mine are all running.
Okay, well, the question was, though, when was the last time that you surrendered?
Well, we have some connections to, you know, Jesus, and a couple of connections to other deities. And so we're always looking at how to go that direction. Did that answer your question?
No. When was the last time you said, I give up, I surrender to creator source, I'm falling backwards right now, and I know that you're going to catch me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's like the 12 steps where you start. And my host isn't there yet. My host has a lot of animosity toward God and life and his sufferings.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave that a link to that article on surrendering. I hope you have a chance to check that out. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
And yeah, I want to thank you for spurring this conversation on.
Of course, remember, I've forgotten everything. All I remember is my host's memories, which are frankly kind of scattered, not too complete or like realistic, just you know. But so I really can't tell you anything right now. I mean, about these other questions. Like, it wasn't meant for me to be having all that right now. I just have his memories.
Mhm.
When I came in, I was like that. I couldn't answer these questions. So I think I'm kind of mixed with him right now. And I don't know how that'll work out because he's got, like, say, for example, an anxiety for driving. When I tried to drive, I could feel his anxiety and I could feel it was limiting me. So one thing I'm kind of wondering is, like, with his, you know, negative energy, how am I going to function? Like, I'm trying to fix up his life and fix different issues, but a lot of it is turning into an uphill battle. So
Being able to
It's,
feel.
you know, honestly, you know, there's an article I'd like you to read on N5D. And to me, it sounds a lot more like, and I hate to say this, you picked up something that's not in your best interest. Okay. A walk-in's not going to do that. A walk-in's going to lift you, not bring you down. It's going to bring positive energy, not negative, generally speaking. I guess you could have negative walk-ins as well, but it sounds like there's an article, and I'm going to post it in the chat room on
Greg,
YouTube.
what about the dark cloud being not used to emotions, and having emotions and letting them flow is a whole new game for him.
well, I'm used to emotions, but anger is my power. With anger, I create, I manifest.
Ooh.
Perhaps I'm a different kind of walk-in than they used to.
Well, if I guess, you know, if I'm going to look at the bright side of the coin, I'm going to say you're the antagonist to create change somehow. But there's an article on N5D. It's called Mega Info Post: How to Clear Negative Energies and Entities. Check that out also, because it sounds like something's going on that's more dissonant for you than positive, if anything else.
Well,
and you're having a hard time
today,
assimilating
it's kind of
these energies.
one of those days where he's been suffering a lot of anxiety, and so I'm feeling it.
Yep.
So if that makes sense.
Yeah. It almost sounds like a fourth dimensional astral entity attachment. If I were to guess anything, that's what it sounds more like than anything else.
Negative entity?
It could well be. And they see you as a willing host, and you're probably full of light normally. And this is kind of shocking for you to have this kind of energy being attached. It's not normal for you, is it?
Well, Mike couldn't express himself, couldn't defend himself, the people that were abusing him, and I can slap them in the face. I mean, so, you know, he feels better by that. He feels more whole by that.
Well, maybe then Karen's right, is that you got to find that balance then in between. In other words, use tact. Be able to put your foot down with tact.
I'm curious for the people that have abused him emotionally. I'm angry. Yeah, angry.
Right.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good.
So you said you feel angry at times, a lot of times, more so than usual lately, things like that. Have you?
When I first arrived here, I had a furnace on my chest. It would make fire when I got angry. So if you want to call it a negative entity, you could, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Well, so, you know, I'm not sure if you've seen a couple of other YouTube videos that Greg's posted lately in the last week, but I talked about my previous employment and being the catalyst for change. It seems like I'm always on the front lines of like a lot of negative entities or negative situations where it makes me angry. And I feel like my soul, we're here as a Syrian myself. I feel like as Syrians, we are the truth bringers. We like the truth. We want to bring the truth out. And being here, seeing all of these lies and all the dishonesties in this world, it makes me angry. I mean, really, really angry. So if that's what you're feeling, for me, how I've learned to deal with it, and this is some advice I can give to you, is take that anger and just know that it is anger, it is negative energy, but channel it into doing some kind of common good thing for the common collective, whether it's being a catalyst for change, a movement, things like that.
There's a lot been going on, and so we've had some angry days recently, but ordinarily I'm not that way. I'm very very positive.
Okay. Yeah, I just, that just resonated with me, and I know it sucks when you're angry and you can't control it sometimes, and things make you upset. I mean, it's
sort of like seeing my wife abused makes me very angry. I mean,
right.
That's how I feel about Michael. I feel this protective, like I'm going to get angry because he almost gave up on this life. The dark night of the soul was too much. And the people that were abusive to him and his family, I'm very angry about. But I don't regret that at all. I mean, that anger has its place because I'm here to protect him. I'm a protector.
Exactly.
So
sorry.
He's going to be a forceful kind of person. Otherwise, they're not going to be your protector.
Well, emotions are a gas pedal.
Yeah.
Emotions are the gas pedal, and then we have the steering wheel and we have the windshield, and then we have the rear view mirrors. So when we're driving our systems, when we're driving forward and we're angry, of course, our foot's going to be down on the gas pedal much, much harder, right? But we can look at our windshield, we can look at the rear view mirrors, we can look at our steering wheel and our speed, and we can say, I have control, because I can make the choices for the highest good of all. And I know how to do that. So when we know how to do that, when we entrust ourselves with surrender, when we entrust ourselves that God works through us, it's God's will, then everything kind of just starts flowing. Even when we hear the crazy words or the crazy things, everything starts flowing towards resolving and balancing and harmony. And it might not work out in that moment for us the way our ego wants, or the way, we have fantasized things should work out at any given time, because we're conditioned for that. But it will show up, it will come around. I just had something come around after 7 years with a neighbor. They did it the exact same thing to another neighbor who thought that it was my fault. It wasn't. I didn't do nothing. I did nothing. So
right now, I just want everyone, real quick, I just want everyone to send Mike healing, love, energy.
Oh yeah, right on. Good job.
Right now, everyone send it to him right now. Can't fight that. No argument there, huh?
Oh.
Allow. Accept.
So it is.
So be it.
Yeah.
Is there, Greg, I don't know much on walk-ins. This is actually, I actually seen the concept of it a couple of weeks ago, but I've never looked into it. But is there a veil of forgetfulness that they also go through once they enter this?
I think for the most part, you can see there's like a bunch of articles on that in 5D, but for the most part, if you're not paying attention, you'll never know. But if you're paying attention, or your loved ones are paying attention and they're schooled in this area, they'll know, they'll pick up on it, and you'll see certain things that, definitive changes in your life. Okay. And as I mentioned, I will be doing a whole show on this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember Dolores Cannon saying that this is the hardest school planet to come to because of the emotions and the limitations that we have to deal with. Mm-hmm. So we agree to come, but then once we're on the other side of the veil, we forget about all that and we have to deal with the emotions. So I'm wondering if that's where all this dark night of the soul, the anger problems that a lot of people have going through their awakening stems from, is realizing that we have to deal with these emotions now in more of a positive way,
Yeah.
per se. I don't know. I was just wondering.
Yeah. And that, I think, a lot of us are putting that, trying to reach that conclusion, at least for Mike, that, maybe you are the antagonist, Mike, and maybe you are to bring out the positive change through what you're doing. But I think that there needs to be some tact in there. There's got to be some kind of balance. It went from one end of the spectrum to the other, and like Karen said, maybe it's part of the integration process or whatever, but needs to be more balanced way of doing it. And
Yeah, when the
hopefully
universe
just
gives you a
all the
hard
light
time-
that we sent helped a little bit.
When the universe gives you a hard time, you can get pissed. And with Mike, he had a terribly hard time, shitty life, really makes me mad. I don't think it's fair of God, not at all. Why should we have a good life? Why would Mike have to get torn down like this?
Why doesn't Mike deserve a good life? What if, I just saw this on a video from Joe Dispenza last week. What if you could wake up every morning and know that you could create your own reality? Would you do it? Would you wake up and say a bunch of affirmations that you knew would come true? I mean, of course you would, but, and we have that ability to manifest and to create in our reality, but we don't do it.
Oh, I work hard on that.
There's a purpose for all this negativity.
Still letting go of fear, maybe.
Like,
why can't we just, it's easy on paper to wake up every morning and do the affirmations? But I still think there's still a lot of fear that we are all still dealing with still, even though we're this far advanced. There's just that little thing of fear.
Well, no one's claiming to be that far advanced. I'm an Aborigine, so maybe I'm a dark entity. I mean, a dark whatever. I mean,
I got no.
No, yeah, I got no too, Karen. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely no.
No,
You wouldn't be in this spirit chat right now with family if it was negative. Trust me.
He'd be shaking by now.
Yeah.
By now he would be shaking.
He would be running away. He'd be like, "Oh no, these people are too powerful over here."
No, he'd be shaking. People be shaking, man. They can't handle it.
Yeah, no, you're definitely a good one for sure.
Well, I definitely can't handle people that don't like me or lie or are jealous, envious. I can't sit down with them.
Join the rest of the group.
Yeah, welcome.
Somehow I am sensitive to negative energy.
No kidding. It's horrible.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's an awful thing.
But this plays out, Mike. And when we witness the play, when we actually allow ourselves to say and reflect, like my husband and I made friends recently with some people that another friend introduced us to. And I did the usual. I didn't ask. I just went in, fixed, counseled, healed. And I have the ability to design and mechanical. I have degrees and all that. And I freely, I'll hire you to do this. And I did it. I never get paid. And I got all that. But when I look back on it, I learned so much by reflecting. I learned so much because what happened is God put a sign in my steering wheel. And I was allowed to turn my vehicle a different direction. And by turning my vehicle that different direction, I grew. And when you're informed, you don't grow voluntarily without things happening in your life that jiggle you, push you. If it was, and I agree with a lot of people, if it was all la la land, honey, we would not be transmuting all this stuff. So for the collective, so we really, we need, can look at it in a way where, wait, where did this steer me to? Right? And Mike can look at it in a way where this steered him to you coming in, his monad group coming in, integration of his monad group coming in, the balancing of, the continuing, because it's a continuing system of balancing the negative and positive, we could say. I call it the male and female charge. Kabbalah calls it the male and female charge. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Kabbalist. I do study a lot of different things, but we have to have experiences. If people are all sweet and loving to us and walk away and talk behind our backs, and we don't know, we don't know. And one day we find out, we thought all these people were our friends, and then we find out, oh, they're not our friends at all. Of course, that's going to set us in a horrible situation. I'm just using this as an example. And we have a choice at that point. We can either surrender to God, we can surrender ourselves to a deep level, and we cannot sabotage ourselves, and we can learn from the experience, and we can grow, or we can be angry, mad, and lash out, So my experience is, I'm a Leo. I was an angry child. I grew up in an angry home, yelling, screaming, cussing every day. I grew up in a very crazy, and I was a Leo on top of it. Very much fire, very strong fire.
Same here,
And,
Karen, I'm a Leo. I get you on same family background. I get you. 100.
Yeah, and I came from that, and through having different experiences happen to me that we could call negative, okay, I saw myself change dramatically. My ability to handle situations was like, did I just say that? And on the other hand, I walked away the other day from someone and I said, oh, God said that to him, because I didn't think of it first. This man, I met his wife in one room, a different room of a house. I was in an estate sale, and she was like this naive, darling, innocent, sweet, God-loving, darling thing. And I said, well, where's your husband? I wanted to meet the husband because she was talking about him. And I went out, and she said, hey, he's the fireman out in the front door. And I went and I said, hello, are you who's the fireman? And she's so lucky to have me. And he went on, and I could leave her or something like that. And I said, oh, the way you did that, you'd be a loser. And boom, his face, he got all screwed up. And I was like, wow, that was the perfect thing to say to him, because saying to him that about his ego or any of those other things wouldn't have worked on this person. Nothing would have happened. He wouldn't have gotten it. But by saying that, and then he said, well, she's lucky to have me. And I said, vice versa, versa. You can make it that way, So when we just surrender this, things come out of our mouths and, we're at peace with things that we wouldn't have been at peace with before. We're having experiences of witnessing a person that
it basically clears the playing field when you surrender. Anything negative, anything positive, you're starting over almost again.
Every single time, every single day, every single moment. Yeah, because it's through your divine will, through divinity and form, you are informed. It's not through your action that you're informed as much as by being full, in allowing yourself to be divinity in form. And then later your action informs you as the witness. You're, as long as you keep that witness self going, afterwards you can reflect in a witness state, go, oh my, I have changed. Oh my, I have changed. I would have punched him in the past, but and I wouldn't have, but you know, I'm just using that as an explanative. But we can't be informed and not have experiences and grow. That's the bottom line.
Hey, Elena.
Hey.
Somebody in chat was saying, "Hey, oh, it's Elena. Elena, I love her. You're a celebrity. People recognize you. Next thing you know,
Thank
they'll
you.
recognize. Next thing you know, they'll recognize you at work."
Yeah, they did one
I
time.
know.
It probably will.
I
Thanks,
know.
whoever that was. Thank you.
That's funny. Recognize. Next thing you know, they'll recognize you at work. Uh-oh, hang on, Kayla.
Yeah, they did.
Kaylin's
What
got
is
her. No, that was Kaylin. She had she joined us, but her YouTube was still on, so I had to mute her. Kaylin just got a shirt, though. Thank you for the shirt, Kaylin. Have you gone through that Dark Night of the Soul, Elena? Of course you have.
Yes.
We all have. Of course you have.
Yeah.
How long ago was it?
Time was like, the first time I was 21. So how old am I? 6 years ago. I'm 27. It was 6 years ago for the first one. And it was a really huge one and like a long, drawn out, dark one that actually led to a walk-in. It was so big. It was like a whole other being.
Well, this is
I guess,
interesting. The walk-in and the Dark Night of the Soul. Okay.
Yeah, it led to it.
Pay
I guess
attention,
I
Mike.
lost. Yeah. So
Okay.
I lost so many soul shards that the one that came in started gradually with like a feminine, like tiger looking being coming in behind one of my eyes. And I was like, what is this? And it was slowly starting to integrate, and because I was very, very masculine. I thought I was a boy trapped in a girl body. So I had lost so much myself that half of me was gone, and I was just a boy in a girl body. So anyway, the feminine, like tiger-like part was coming in slowly, and then when the whole walk-in finally integrated, there was a higher angelic part of me that I guess was hiding, and then also maybe one of them was with the animals. I don't know, with a tiger guiding it, or maybe I don't know. It was some part of me that's like that. I'm also a Leo. In my Mayan calendar, I'm on the cusp of Jaguar, but I'm a Wyeb, which is the only 5-day month out of all the 20-day months. There's a 5-day month that's like the king of the missing days, the Earth specter instead of animal, and it's where the invisible forces walk the Earth. I guess Mayan calendar. It's very interesting. But so yeah, that walk-in. I forgot how to cook everything that I'd always been cooking my whole life. And like, I forgot how to do stuff. And I remember having this thought, like I was cleaning the bathroom and I was like, oh, so this is what this person has to do. This is what this person does. And like, I forgot a lot of stuff. And it was like a whole new, I don't know. It was like, I was different.
Was there a surrender in there somewhere?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, it was after a part where I felt like the world was like eating me alive, like I was shrinking, and it was such like pure darkness to me. Like the world sucked so bad that I guess maybe when it was integrating one night, it went the full way in or something, and I surrendered on purpose a few times though, like a lot, like continuously, just like, so maybe I called it because part of me was so tired of this earth, or it finished what it was supposed to do. Because I feel like everything in my life before that, it was a different person that did it. It wasn't me. So now the me that's here is me, but it was like that was a different me. So I don't know if it's half of me or all of me is a new soul, or a part of my higher soul aspect that needed to come back that I lost. But I lost such a huge piece. Yeah.
Higher. I vote for higher. So
yeah, it was definitely higher for sure. It was like it brought in a lot of compassion and love for all of humanity, and like I didn't be so conceited because I was like really masculine, but I cared a lot about how I looked and stuff. and I was more conceited and everything. And I just completely changed as a person. I didn't put on makeup anymore because I would wear makeup some days or dress like a total straight boy some days. Like I'd switch it up like every other day. But I stopped doing everything and I just started like researching everything. And that's how I found out that it was probably a walk-in. And also I asked for the soul retrieval on purpose after researching it, and I surrendered then, and I asked for all my soul pieces to come back that could, and I went on my own little journey searching like where they were. So yeah,
Well,
that's
also,
where
you
I
know,
got my
that
feminine
whole
side back.
masculine thing that you're talking about might just be have a lot to do with the Leo energy. It's surprising how many Leos we have here. Good thing I'm a triple Libra. I got plenty of air for all of you. But
Thanks. Yeah, I'm
Well, my
fiery.
Cancer
I'm like
definitely
hot
puts out my fire
all the
being a
time.
triple Cancer with Moon rising and Mercury. So this retrograde is kicking my butt right now.
right.
Mhm.
Cute.
But yeah, lots of fire tonight, huh? Four
Yeah.
Leos.
I know, guys. I'm also a Leo.
Of course you are.
Five Leos on tonight.
I wanted to
6.
hop
I'm a
on
Leo
and-
too, y'all.
Oh,
Oh
6.
my gosh.
Oh my God.
Ooh,
It's
Wow.
the Leo show.
Capricorn.
My daughter's Leo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's 6. Hey, 6 is a good number. One of Tesla's numbers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, Caitlin, your shirt just got mailed out.
Thank you so much. I was trying to say hi when I first signed on, but I didn't know what I was really doing on Zoom, but I think I have it figured out now. I'm really excited to get the shirt. And
Awesome.
say
Yay.
hi to you guys. I love this platform. I know everyone tells you that, but it's so true. I just let it play while I'm doing stuff around the house usually, or I work remotely. And it has just been so helpful to hear people's stories and hear things that resonate. Like you all say, like it really can be hard to go out there. And I'm not an introvert. I like to talk, but I don't like talking about things that people are looking at me like, what the hell is she doing? So
How's the weather today?
Oh my God. it's so you know. So
Yeah.
it's just so beautiful to hear you guys. And tonight
It's real.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I've always said, you know, everyone's got amazing stories, plural, to tell, you know, and this gives the voice to everyone out there. So,
yeah. And that's how we teach each other too. I mean, since the beginning of time, it's through stories, right? So when we hear someone's story, we resonate or we learn something new. And I love hearing other people's perspectives, even tonight talking about these walk-ins. You know, I'm not totally informed on all of that, but I was also thinking for myself, I feel in this lifetime that I've had many different lifetimes. And when some of you were talking earlier, I was wondering if sometimes we're just hopping timelines. Does anyone think that's a possibility? And I think that forgetfulness comes in too, because like you'll be like, why can't I remember that? And sometimes it's almost embarrassing that you can't remember certain things that should have stood out, family events or anything really. And I've come to this new idea that I think I'm just jumping timelines a lot.
yeah. Well, we're seeing timelines converging as well, too, to the
Absolutely.
most optimal timeline.
Yeah.
Just real quick. And when we were talking about all the Leos that are here on Zoom in the YouTube chat room, there's all these people that are saying, yeah, I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo.
Yeah.
Elaine, Aaron Davis, Nancy. Yeah. Bunch of people in there. Lots of Leos in the house. Definitely. So funny.
I'm a Taurus.
Yeah.
I'm a Taurus.
Leos are
Leo
about love
rising.
in the heart, and we want to bring that love. You know, we speak through our hearts. We do. So maybe that's why it's a good topic, being the dark night of the soul. You have all Leos here speaking through our hearts, because we want everyone to be.
I love Leos. Yeah.
You know?
I love Leos. My air feeds their fire, so we get along great. Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm married to a Sagittarius.
I may be the only one in this chat that's not a Leo besides for Greg, but my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my grandpa are all Leos. You should see how many birthdays we have in August.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, and even though I'm not, my daughter is. Yeah. So,
yeah.
That Leo connection.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Very
That's a
cool.
lot.
So Kaylin, when was your dark night of the soul?
Well, about 2 years ago. It's pretty much as you'd expect. I mean, I couldn't ignore it. Everything in my life got taken away from me. I was a teacher for 7 years, and I ended up not returning to the school.
What did you teach, out of curiosity?
High school English.
Okay.
And I was in my first year of my marriage, which was absolutely toxic. And I left that same summer. That's when, we signed papers to get a divorce. On top of that, I was moving, like I was homeless because I moved out from my husband, right? So I was sitting there, I remember one night just thinking, wow, I lost a job, a husband, a career in like 2 weeks. Like, what the hell? And at first I just had that, speaking of Leo energy, like fierce, be strong, be brave. I've been through so many things, I can handle anything. And it wasn't long before I realized so many emotions were coming up. I didn't realize that they were old. I didn't know what I know now, but so many things came up so quickly. And Greg, I heard you mention Joe Dispenza earlier. I remember having this dark night of the soul. So I eventually get my apartment. I mean, I was not functioning. I was sleeping in my bed as much as I possibly could. I was barely brushing my teeth in the morning to go to work as a teacher. Like, I was in pure survival mode. I did not want to be here anymore. That was for sure. And I don't know how or what happened that my TV was on, because I certainly wasn't turning it on normally, but Dr. Joe Dispenza, I hear this lecture in the background, and he's talking about how your thoughts create your reality. And, I'm listening, I'm like, what the hell is this? And I roll over and I started over again. Within a few months, I signed up for an event, and I went December 2018. And I sat down at his event. It was the second day, the first meditation in the morning, and my whole body, like my shoulders were lifting. I felt energy clearing through the top of my head. I mean, it was clearing up. I couldn't control it. I couldn't stop it. And then a minute later, my eyes are still closed. We're in this meditation. I'm with like 1,000 people in this room meditating, and I start seeing this, like, it was like a hole in the center of the darkness. And slowly it opened up, and it looked super rocky. And then faces started coming through. And I immediately knew these were all my past lives. And it just came to me. I wouldn't have normally thought that, but I knew that that's what they were. And there must have been, 30, 40 different faces, all different kinds of people, all walks of life. And it was a beautiful feeling that I felt when I was seeing them. I didn't want to go away. And then at the end, it started just being eyes. And then it was my eyes. I recognized it was just like it was me looking at myself. And then that went away. And then it was lion eyes looking at me. And that's when I knew, okay, I have to learn how to channel this fierceness. I have to heal and be more gentle. I have to, put my ego to the side, surrender to the divine, and just trust my freaking intuition, because I've always been intuitive. And I'm so afraid of what people think of me when I trust my gut and follow my heart, because they think I'm on this like whimsical ride or something. And the more I'm trying to fit this cookie cutter, be a teacher in a school, be married by the age of 27, the list goes on. The more I'm trying to conform, the more I'm getting shit on. And like, the divine is trying to tell me, like, just let us lead you, let us guide you. So needless to say, it was a long haul, even from that first experience, but I've come a long way. And everything you guys are saying about surrendering, I think the biggest piece is like, when I was at that event in 2018, I was saying, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender in my head, but I didn't really mean it, like you have to really, really open your heart, and have that coherence, your heart and your head, and just, instead of thinking with logical thoughts, open your heart to the divine and follow your gut. And as soon as you do, things just start coming to you. It's true.
It's like The Secret, the law of attraction, when you put that emotion behind the surrender.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you have to really believe it. So I would be telling myself, I appreciate life. I live a life of joy. I am abundant. I am free. But I didn't really believe it because I was suffering so much. Once I started to clear energy, or whatever you want to call it, karma, whatever. I started opening doors for myself, and I was able to, the more emotion that I truly felt bliss or I truly felt joy, it's like you get the momentum going and you're addicted to it. You just keep the ball rolling, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. And then the synchronicities come in and everything else.
So what advice would you give to people that are going through the dark night of the soul?
This is how I did it, because I really did not want to be here at all. I actually say, like, Dr. Joe saved my life. But what I did was I found this card in a gift shop one day, and it was a painting of like a cartoon of Mrs. Doubtfire. You guys all know Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire. And it said, "Fake it till you make it." I bought it and I hung it on my wall, and I just looked at it every day. And I figured, if I can't feel gratitude, I'm going to pretend. So I would go for a gratitude walk, and I would just tell myself, I'm grateful. I would practice smiling, even. Like, I would just smile more and practice it. And like, eventually I felt like I tricked myself into really feeling it. And then it became real. I mean, that worked for me. I know some people don't like the fake it till you make it idea, but it can be really difficult when you're in that dark place to put that emotion with that thought. So, if you have to fake it till you make it, so be it.
It's the power of suggestion. It will stick with you.
Well, I am is the power, or the magic words.
Yeah.
I am. That's what manifests. I mean,
Yes.
As long I kind of go with the fake it as you make it school myself, because that's kind of how I got to where I started waking up, was just positive affirmations. And I really think we do have the power to change our reality using those powerful affirmations. We really do.
We do. And the I am, especially in front of any affirmation, is huge. I mean, I think some people come up with the affirmations, but they're not dedicated to them. You have to say it out loud in the morning. You have to say it at least 5 to 10 times a day out loud. Anytime you speak it out loud, it's more powerful. And sometimes you can't, and that's okay. But I mean, put Post-it notes in your car, on your mirror, like.
I'm a Post-it note queen.
What was that?
I'm a Post-it note queen.
And that's what they're wonderful, right? But
I've been using them forever.
And then you start attracting synchronicities too to help confirm it. So now you are believing it, right? Because you're getting the synchronicities to help, like, verify, if you will, that you're on the right path. But those
because trust
are everything.
Yeah, trust is multi-layered. We learn to trust not through just saying we trust. We learn to trust through getting more and more in alignment. And the more and more in alignment we are, and synchronicities showing us, like, I asked a question the other day, and right after it, and it's something, icky, right? And helping someone else. And I keep asking, making sure I'm not just, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or do anything. And boy, right away, right after that question, I turned in 11:11.
Yeah.
And so the more we trust, the deeper our trust is. That, to me, that's a huge part of it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I share one more thing? Sorry, I know I'm doing a lot of this.
No, you're good.
But I just think it's appropriate with surrendering and synchronicities. So I'm trying to master that, right? So it's an ongoing process. But about a few months ago, I live in Philly, in Philadelphia, South Philly, and I'm standing in my kitchen or cleaning up or doing work, and I just kept getting this feeling. I guess it was my guides or my gut just saying, "You need to move out of here. You need to move out of here." I'm like, well, where the hell am I going to go? I don't have any money. And I'm just, my brain, the chatter kept saying that didn't make sense. That didn't make sense. Well, after a series of synchronicities and messages all pointing to Arizona, which I never thought I would ever move there, I decided a few weeks ago that I'm going to move out there. And I don't have a job. I don't even have a place to live. I'm actually staying with a friend for a month, maybe even 2, until I see if I definitely like it and find something. But again, as soon as I decided, like I called my landlord and said, I'm not renewing the lease. All these things started coming to me. I mean, again, the numbers, the signs, the different connections. I mean, even on like Instagram, like I was getting all these people liking things that were from Arizona and all this verification. And I'm just really surrendering to the universe, trusting the unknown. I'm driving out there March 16th, I'm leaving. So I'm just really excited about it. And it's 11/11 now.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
It is
Good luck.
11/11.
Congratulations.
East
Is
Coast
it?
time.
Yeah.
East Coast time,
Yeah.
11/11.
Ah, nice.
Wow.
Good catch. Well, thank you for sharing, Kaylin. And I forgot to ask Elena, what did you learn about your dark night of the soul? You're muted, Elena. Unmute yourself.
Oh, basically, it's like whenever I realize there's nothing, and like if you ever realize that there's nothing, everyone who's had it, you realize that you lose everything. You lose all your friends, all your money usually, which I did.
Mhm.
So all I
Mhm.
did was I also quit working. So I made my own cleaning service and I made my own meditation practices and I healed my own self. And basically, I guess if you can create light, then you won't stay in the dark night of the soul. You create your own
Love
light.
that.
You find your own light by sitting still so long that it springs up. It was like this light just sprung up golden fucking all over.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess that's it. If you just focus on trying to create light, you'll get out of it eventually.
Beautiful.
And
Thank
then
you.
I had another one anyway, though. It was horrible when I first moved to Florida. And I just did the same thing. I just found whatever job I could and did the best I could. And like I surrendered again. There was this one day, it was so hot. I was like, this is hell. This is hell. I was walking with Isabel and I kept complaining so much. It was so hot. And she's like, take off your shirt. Just shut up and take off your shirt. Just take off your shirt. And I had like a half shirt under my shirt. So I did. I took it off and we were walking. And I was like, why do we have to walk everywhere? And she's like, that's just what we do. That's what God said to her. And I just surrendered again. And I ended up, finding everything beautiful. And I wasn't even gonna look for anything except just, thriving in any way that I could. But like I found a fiance too by accident. I saw a soul that was like another beautiful one. He likes to help homeless people. He was helping a homeless lady. And I was like, wow. And it's just also we recognized each other. Like we've been together before, I think, in probably multiple lives. We both think we recognized each other. But yeah, everything ended up always being safe. I was always safe and like had everything I needed and I was being carried. So I gave up again and I was like, fuck it. I'll just work at a restaurant. And now I've been at that restaurant like 3 years and it's amazing and everything is like, everything's cool, but I had to create my own life. Like I think I created everything.
No doubt. I guarantee you did. You manifested this right now, all of us together right here. What a great job you did.
Thanks. Yeah,
That's
you guys
awesome.
are beautiful. I did a good job on you.
Yeah, you did. You did. We all thank you. So,
Yeah. And I think I'm successful in life since I have happiness and love and like my 9-year-old is so great and like wonderful and awesome
the things that
and like
matter.
always on honor roll and stuff and just chilling, man. So I think I found success in a way, even though I'm not rich, I could afford everything I need and want.
Mhm.
And I'm like trying to save up so I can better my life and stuff. But yeah,
Well, I have a
we'll
feeling
get
that
out
we're
of
going to be
it.
moving beyond money anyway. So,
Me too. I just want us to plant a lot of food trees. Like that's all we gotta do and we won't need money. If you can have food, You can build everything you need, like do everything you need. If we all just plant some hemp and fruit trees and nut bushes and walnuts and stuff, yeah, we'll be beyond money soon.
See, that's
People are
what I've
doing
always
it.
said. When
They're starting it.
if there was no
Mhm.
such thing as money, I would have an orchard and put a sign out there and tell people, help yourself, grab some for people that you know are hungry. And I would work with children, helping them find whatever their true divine purpose is for being here.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I live in Southern California, and everywhere you drive, people have fruit on the trees and they don't pick it. And that, you know, they put trees in their yards or lemon trees or whatever, and nobody wants to pick the trees. It's
Then you
so
get arrested if you
tricky.
do.
Oh yeah.
I wonder,
Wow.
yeah, I wonder if you're not allowed. Are they not allowed?
It's on private property. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you can't.
Yeah. And,
What
but
if
they
we
won't
all
get
started
in.
planting the trees on public grass and then we all got in trouble for planting
Right.
trees on public land?
Yeah.
Well, we'd have to put a sign out on our yard saying this yard is allowed to be trespassed.
Yeah, it's
to the
okay to
trees.
pick the fruit. Yeah,
Mhm.
I like that. Wouldn't it be
'Cause I
much
would do
better
the same
anyway
thing.
if everybody just had produce in their yard instead of a lawn? Just everybody has.
Oh, I've thought of that. Yeah, I've thought of
Why
that.
do we need a lawn?
Gardens,
Yeah.
flower gardens,
These lawns.
food gardens.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I know everyone's so
Yeah,
crazy about their
garden.
grass and their height of their grass and taking care of it. And
Yeah.
it's like, if we can take that energy into our grass and
Yeah,
put
right.
it towards solving these problems, we would be so far advanced right now in this world.
And all the times we're watering our grass when we could be watering produce,
Right.
vegetables.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys,
Is that
I have tried garden. I have, until I got really sick, I have built 2 huge 20-foot by 4-foot wide and 2 feet deep. The whole backyard is built for gardening. We built a garden bench and you know, we had fruit tree anyway. I grow weeds really well now. But the front yard, you're trying to get grass out that don't want to come out. You need major excavation. But, you know, I would plant food and then try to give it away, right? Because I had so much. Oh, no, I don't like to eat that. I don't eat zucchini. Oh, you can give me one. Like, I'm doing them a favor. I'm trying to be, anyway. Oh,
You bring
God
it
bless.
to the food pantries and they will take that.
Yes, I know. Yeah, but I'm just saying, you know, trying to real quick, you pick, it's
Yeah.
6, 7 o'clock in the evening, it's fresh. You try to give it to your neighbors, you know.
Yeah.
I'm part of a local food pantry and we give out like 800 pounds of food the 1st and the 15th of the month, like fresh produce, just for free.
Yeah.
We just
Oh,
go
right
into a
on.
park, we post it on social media, and anybody can drive up and get whatever they want.
Oh, that's great.
That's
Yeah,
great.
they have something
Yeah.
near me called Community Solidarity. And once a week, they bring out all kinds of food from the stores that, you know, they go on. I guess they're going to
Yeah.
soon expire, or, you
Yep.
know, fruit and vegetables that are kind of, you know, almost getting ready to be thrown out. But some of them have a lot of organic stuff too, which is pretty interesting. But people come and they donate things that, you know, they're not going to use anymore. They bring that. They set it up every Thursday night, and they get a big crowd, you know.
Yeah, I mean, churches even do that too.
Yeah.
All the churches in my community and other cities have food pantries, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a great thing that they do.
Yeah.
They help the local community because we have to help each other, right?
Oh yeah.
So
We have
Yeah.
one here that's on wheels. It's called Lighthouse Mission, and it was started probably about 20 years ago by a lady who heard in her voice, or heard a voice saying, make 10 sandwiches and bring them down to the corner and feed the homeless people. So she did. And then every
how
day
sweet.
she would make 10 sandwiches, bring it down to the corner, and it evolved into this food pantry on wheels. And so they go out to different communities with the trucks, and they loaded a bowl up with food, and then people come to the corner, so they don't have to go to like a building, actual building. They're standing outside online, waiting to get the food, but the food is free and it's there for anybody who needs it. So
I love hearing stories like that.
yeah, it was really amazing how that started, with that woman. And now they have, they have like a building, and they have, people donate from everywhere. And so they have several locations all around here. And I think it's one of the only food pantries on wheels that goes out to the community. Instead of the community have to getting to their location, they go out to the communities, which is
So
nice.
while we got you talking, Catherine, you want to talk about your dark night of the soul?
Okay. I found that for me, what really helped me a lot, I've had a couple of those kind of experiences in my life. One very powerful one that I remember was I lit a candle and I just started to pray and call in my guides and just ask them, just say to them, I just help me basically. And then I just said, I really
Was
want to
that
do
your way of surrendering at that point?
yeah. I'm like,
Okay.
I really want to do my work here. Like this, I want to do what I'm supposed to do here. And I was pretty profound because I had this huge experience where I saw this being kind of descending down from this craft that was over my head. And I saw all this white light like flashing, and it was kind of like they were pumping me full of this white light. And when I came out of it, I saw the candle that I was burning, it literally melted onto the cabinet into the shape of an angel.
Wow.
So I took a picture of it because I was like, oh my God, this is insane. But shortly after that happened, I started to have I started to do acupuncture, which was the first for me. And like the next day I went for acupuncture, and I was laying on the table, and I saw like this 8-foot tall being that was working on me energetically. But a lot of that, at that point, that's when things started to shift and I started to feel better. Another time where I was kind of feeling that like low energy, I noticed I was waking up in the morning with a lot of dread, like just feeling like dreadful about waking up, like, oh no, oh, here I am again, like, how am I going to do this again today? So what I started to do was because I knew that wasn't good for me. I knew that it was kind of setting off my day in a negative tone. So what I did was I would consciously pray as I was waking up and start to turn it around and like think about all the things I'm grateful for, and pray for other people, pray for the world, pray for the oceans and the earth and all of the beings on the earth. And
Gratitude. Yeah.
yeah, and that really helped me. And then what I did also was I would say, like, in my mind, today is going to be a great day. I'm going to meet so many nice people. I'm going to have amazing experiences. And that literally, like switched everything for me, and then that's when things started to happen, like synchronicities and meeting.
Positive affirmations.
Yeah,
Right.
meeting good people, and all the things that I said in the morning actually happened, So it was pretty cool to do that and then see that happen right. I mean, it literally happened that day, So I would recommend that too for anybody.
So yeah, that would probably be your number one recommendation for people that are experiencing the dark night of the soul, is to start putting out those positive affirmations. Is there anything else that you'd recommend for people that are experiencing?
Well, I think too, another thing I would recommend is that when I take my attention, like if my attention is on stuff that's going on that's negative, I always have a choice about what it is I choose to focus on. And so when I realize that about myself, then I can make a conscious choice to focus on things that bring me joy. So when I focus on the things that bring me joy, that's when things also start to change, because then I'm in that, like a higher vibration. So then I start to have synchronicities and things, you know, and connections and things like that. So that helps a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, finding joy in watching like these horror flicks that they have in Hollywood now. It's like
Yeah.
everything involving death and horror, murder, you know.
Yeah. Some
You
people
gotta
think
just,
that's entertainment.
I know. You
And,
got to do high vibratory things, I think.
yeah, just, I remember years ago, we went to my husband wanted to take my daughter to this horror movie. And I was like, yeah, I said, that's just such a really low vibration. Like, I don't think it's a great idea to be, I mean, if she wants to go with her friends, fine. We have no control over that, but I don't really want to be taking her to those kind of things. But I went with them. And I went with them because I wanted to protect her. So I sat there and I was calling in all the angels as we were in the theater, And when they showed this one particular scene in the theater where like the demon came out and was like, "Ah," scaring everybody. As soon as that happened, I kid you not, I felt this energy like pop into my arm, right? And I started praying in my head and I'm like, calling in the archangels. But what I learned from that experience is that is a real energy. Okay. And that really affects people. And people think, oh no, it's not real. It's just a movie. It's entertainment. Oh, that shit's real. Sorry. That is a low vibe energy. And it comes through that screen you're watching. And if people don't have a spiritual base within themselves,
Even if you do.
they're
Yeah.
susceptible. They're more open to that stuff. And it's really, it's done for a purpose, I believe,
Definitely.
and to keep people in a very low vibration.
That's
And,
why people should just watch in 5D videos and feel good.
Yes. Nobody needs that malevolent energy, and nobody needs to buy into that malevolent energy.
yeah. But I've talked about that, like I have a group that I meet with once a month, and I have shared that experience with people, and people will just say, oh no, it's not true, that, it's just a movie. Like people don't want to believe that that energy is a real thing and it can affect people in a negative way.
Sure. I mean, imagine just the dreams that those people will have that night of trying to work out in their subconscious this horrible negative energy that they just witnessed.
Right. That's why too, like a lot of the movies they show about ETs and aliens and stuff, like if you notice with those movies, they're 99% of them have a negative, violent, evil, warlike message that they're bringing to people. Where I think there was 2 movies that I can remember that were really good, ET movies. With ET, I love that movie.
Yeah, Cocoon would be another one.
Which one?
Cocoon.
Cocoon.
Oh, I love Cocoon.
Yeah, and the
That's a
other
good
one
one.
is Arrival. I love that movie, Arrival. Have you seen that one?
I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of when they're hanging there, the ships are just hanging there, and she's a linguistic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, that movie that was really good. But
I
yeah,
haven't seen that
all of those
movie.
The
kind of
world needs more movies like those.
Yeah.
Where you feel good. There's no death.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
couldn't even watch Lassie when I was a kid. My mom had to tell me every week, Lassie's got to come back for the next show.
And Jimmy's stuck in the well.
Yeah.
Or Timmy, Jimmy.
With that sad
Kimmy.
song
Kimmy.
playing in the background. I don't
Right?
know.
Yeah.
And when Lassie would cry, my friend would always cry. My friend would never cry when the people got hurt. But when Lassie got hurt, That's when my that's when my friend would cry. She was a
I'm
true
gonna pretend that
animal.
I'm too young to remember that, but I do remember it.
Oh, Lassie.
Yeah, I
Oh
remember
no, you're
Lassie and
not
Flipper
now.
and my favorite Martian.
Yeah. Or how about the Brady Bunch?
Well, that's well after all of those, right?
Yeah. The thing I think about with Zoom is we kind of look like the Brady Bunch looked all those years ago when we were watching that show. And now now we can talk to each other though. I don't think they could talk to each other when they were in their squares.
Right?
Yeah, they just looked at each other.
Yeah, they did.
They pretended they were looking at the other squares.
Right. One was
Yeah.
looking up, the other one was looking
Yeah.
down, waving to each other.
So Matthew, you haven't talked about your dark night of the soul yet.
Well, do you ever believe that you have multiple dark nights of the soul sometimes?
Already talked
Yes.
about that. Many of us have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You got
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been exhausted the last few days. I haven't been able to sleep, right? The new energies that are coming in and all that. It's just
Mercury
been,
retrograde. Yeah.
yeah, it's been affecting me a lot. And let's see. So my dark night of the soul, I mean, I think you know this, Greg, already. You know, it's got to do with what happened to me at United Airlines when I was working there, you know. Right. I mean, for a year before that incident, I was becoming awoke. I was getting into more of the mystical things, like the Wiccan stuff, the little spells and doing little things like that, but definitely getting there. And I believe when you have like a pivotal, I call it the shift, I call it a pivotal moment in your life. It's that pivotal moment that just says, all right, enough's enough. You got it. And now here, run with it. And it comes in, like I said, when I was on that flight, I felt like I was watching myself from afar, even though I knew I was in this physical body. I just felt like I had an out of body experience. And I would say my dark night of the soul is just dealing with the trauma of my family that I never really, I knew certain things that had happened in the past and being around certain violence and situations and things like that. It never affected me when I was a teenager, or nothing, but for some reason at age 30, 32 or 30 to 32, it started all surfacing. And like, I'm like, I know about these problems, but why does it bother me so much now? And it just did. It bothered me so much to where, you know, like I said with Mike, like my anger issues came out. I'm a truth seeker, and I just knew about the lies in the world. And then I believe my family is just nothing more of a mirror image of what's going on in this world. I mean, it really is. I feel like what's going on in this world, I'm dealing with it in the home life in my family. And, you know, I had recently another dark night of the soul just happened to me recently before I came back to Florida for a little bit to figure some things out. I, for some reason, have very turbulent relationships with my aunts a lot on both sides, my father and my mother's side of the family. But I was there for my aunt right after my grandfather died, talking about DNA tests and all that. She did an ancestry test and found out my grandfather was not the father after all these years. And so she was going through so much. And the minute I lost my job at United, I got in my car and I drove from Chicago to Syracuse to be with my aunt. I said, you know, I got all these problems going on. Let me set my problems aside and go help my aunt and help her out, because she was just very upset. So I stayed with her for about 2 weeks, and that was in 2018. And for those 2 years, her and I had this awesome bond. And her sister, which is my mom's, they're both my mom's sisters. Her sister has always been very jealous of me, always asking me, where do you get the money to travel? It's always about money with her, and she's got money. So she's like, I got money and I can't afford to do the things you do. I don't have a Louis Vuitton passport holder, which, by the way, it was 15 bucks in China. So her assumptions, that's what really pisses me off, is people who assume things. And so I was, the night before, I was talking to my Aunt Gina, the one who was going through all those issues, and got off the phone with her, had a great conversation. The next morning, I'm like, I want to go to Florida. I need to get out of Denver. It's not working out. I don't have that much money to get out of Denver. And I had a friend who was a former flight attendant with United who's going through one of the lawsuits that I was talking about with you. And she said, Matt, I'm in a situation where what happened to me, I'm okay, because I saved a lot and my seniority was high and I just had a lot of money saved aside for this type of stuff. And she goes, I'm going to buy you a ticket. I'm going to get you home to your mom, things like that. So I'm like, great. And then my aunt was supposed to be coming down here 2 weeks later. And I texted her, I said, hey, I got a plane ticket to Florida. Are you still coming for winter break? Because she's a school teacher. And up north, they get winter break and they get spring break. And so she then sends me this text. And it wasn't a text to me. It was the wrong text. And she said, I don't know, maybe his roommate kicked him out and he's done being a cellar dweller. And she was talking about me. She was talking to my other aunt who doesn't care for me, going back and forth. And I think Karen brought this up, when you're betrayed. All my love that went into helping my aunt out, putting my problems aside, it brought out it was like I regressed back to the beginning of like where I started my spiritual awakening. And when I got to Florida, I carried that with me for about 3 weeks until I found, your channel. My mom put me in contact with your channel and everything. And, it's just like the anger is the hardest part of dealing with the dark night of the soul and the betrayal.
How is your mom related to these aunts?
Sister.
Okay.
And
yeah.
So that also ate my mom up a little bit too, because my mom has tried so hard to work with my aunts and just to be, just to let things go. And it just seems like, trying to let things go, it's hard because they still, even when I got down here, my aunt was calling my grandmother up being like, is Matthew at your house? Like being like, why is he there? He shouldn't be at his grandmother's house at 33 years old. And things like that, and it's just like, I'm such a great person. And I just like, don't understand why my love and my heart has to get crushed and stomped on. And that's what makes me angry. It does. It makes me angry. And it really does, because it's like, I wish everybody knew the intent that I always have in my heart. And my mom says it's just jealousy. It's all jealousy. They're jealous of you, with my aunt who's rich, for her to question how I get money to do all my travels and things like that. Well, for me, it's something she can't understand. And for me, I know what it is. It's the power of manifestation. You don't need money. And that's the downfall of this whole entire situation, is it's money. It's always money with my family. Everything is always money. And I think Rhonda said something about the generations ahead of before hers, like, which would be my grandparents' age, maybe a little bit of my mom and my aunt's age. But that generation, for some reason, they don't want you to do better than them. They don't want you to. And that's the way I feel. So that resonated with me with what Rhonda said last week, was for some reason, they just don't, and that all boils down to jealousy. And it's just like the truth. My family lies a lot. They create crazy false pretexts to save their own reputation. They would throw their young under the bus to save them. That's exactly my family. They would throw like me under the bus in order to save their reputation. And it's just like, it boils down to jealousy. And that's one of the struggles that I deal with, is probably the family, because they call me a liar, and I'm like, no, you guys just don't like when and they say I have a big mouth, and I'm like, well, my big mouth speaks the truth, and that's why you guys get all worried when I come home to Florida, because, oh, Matt, the truth bearer, is coming back. And it's true, because I lay everything out on the table.
Yeah.
I lay everything out on the table. I don't bullshit. I just don't. I don't have time for it. And everybody lies to some extent, but I feel like I have to lie in order to please them, to make them, feel comfortable being around me. So I lie about myself at times,
Do you think that there's any part of you that was your aunt in a previous lifetime? And this is a karmic kind of thing that's going on.
Kind of like what Dolores Cannon says, how we change roles sometimes when we have to come back and finish unfinished business, maybe.
In that case, I mean, just like with what Dolores Cannon said, it's as simple as forgiving, and you're over that karma.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Here's the thing: on Thanksgiving, my Aunt Gina, the one who found out my grandfather wasn't her biological father after all these years, she said to me, "Hey, your mom and your Aunt Michelle were hanging out on Thanksgiving. Your Aunt Michelle spent the night at your mom's house." And my mom and Aunt Michelle kind of had this relationship. It's been on and off type thing. And for me, that made me feel good that they were together. I'm like, wow, okay, the sisters are finally getting back together again, where it should be, the harmony in the family. So I reached out to my Aunt Michelle, and we haven't talked in 3 years because we had a huge blowout and everything. And I just said, Aunt Gina told me you were with my mom on Thanksgiving at her house, and you spent the night and you guys shared a bottle of wine. I go, I think that's amazing. And I go, may this be a peace offering from me. No response. She had the read receipts on the iPhone. So I looked at it, she read it, and then she blocked me. And then a month later, I find out that my two aunts were talking about me behind my back. And it's just like, I extended that olive branch of forgiveness, and you stomped on it. And I've been dealing with that a lot, is always doing forgiveness to people lately that I feel like I've hurt or that I've had turmoil with. And Greg, no one's taking my olive branches, and that's what's really upsetting. It's because I've learned forgiveness, and they're all religious, and it's like, practice what you preach. Learn forgiveness, because in the spirit community, you have to forgive every single day, no matter what. You have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive others. Most importantly, though, forgive yourself. And for me, I have to forgive myself, because I know that I've done the right thing. And the soul contract, I know that I'm at peace because I did the right thing. It's on them now. The karma is back on them. It really is. And I have to look at it that way. And I can't get angry about it, because I have to let it go. It's just not working. It's not working. I've done my part. I really have. And
when was the last time you surrendered?
Just surrendering, like just giving up, like just letting everything completely go.
Just giving up total control to creator source, and just saying, I trust the plan, basically.
I would probably say yesterday, when I was flying up to Chicago for that interview.
How did that go?
I believe I got it.
Awesome.
I'm learning to just surrender, because I saw all the synchronicities yesterday. I saw 333. I saw 555. My flight number was like 1693. The other flight number was like 3697. All these like threes and everything.
Right. Tesla and
all that. And the hiring manager, I got his name before the interview, so I looked him up on LinkedIn and wanted to look at his credentials, because I'm like, well, they're interviewing me, but I got to interview the company too. That's how an interview goes. So I looked him up, and when I got off the plane in Chicago, I still had an hour and a half before the meeting of the interview. So I'm walking through the terminal. I'm like, I'm going to go grab some Starbucks. I'm tired. I haven't slept. And I kid you not, he was in a group, and he in the busiest airport in the country, walking in this massive crowd, and I did him from like, you know, a distance, and he didn't know who I was yet, but I already knew what he looked like. And he looked right at me, and I looked right at him, and I just kept going. And then an hour and a half later, when he came up to the terminal to get me down through security clearance to the tower, I think he kind of knew. He's like, I saw him earlier, but we didn't say anything. And I just knew that was a huge synchronicity already. And it went well. The interview went great. I haven't
It's
gotten
funny
any.
you surrendered right before that, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what happens?
I
That's
surrendered
awesome.
right before it, because I'm like, this is the plan. And even when I got back to Chicago, I knew that I was supposed to be back in Chicago soon. It felt right. I got off the plane, and then I had enough time to go outside and smoke a cigarette after the interview. And I just looked out at the city. I smelled the fresh, you know how it is, the fresh, crisp, cold air. Sometimes you really need it. I'm sorry, but
No, you do. I don't. No.
yeah, okay. But I just knew, I kind of knew that it's all coming together, and this is where I'm supposed to be. And the fact that I'm in one of the largest hubs for United and American, going back to United's competitor with a better job that's going to pay more. And I have, first of all, the job, I thought it was just some basic customer service manager role, but the job description really wasn't what they were telling me. He was like, you were going to be sort of an analyst. You're going to be responsible internally for moving people around in the operation, sending gate agents to this gate. When this plane lands, you need to call the tower, make sure the plane's coming in. If there's going to be a gate change, he's like, you're going to be you're going to move people around.
You're going to be moving energy.
Exactly. And I'm not, and he goes, you're not going to be on the front lines dealing with the customers. And I'm like, great, that's awesome. He goes, you're going to be in the basement in your own office. Then you're going to be in the control tower. You're going to be, dealing with internal stuff. And that's when I knew that this job is going to pay more than I expected. I know it is. I mean, that's a close to a 6-figure role.
Heck, we're not gonna see you on here anymore.
No, you will. I know that this plan, it's definitely not being in a career with American. It's going to get me to where I want to start to lift maybe my YouTube channel off and do my healing work, because I'm meant to be a Reiki healer. I know I am. I'm meant to be a Reiki healer, a hypnotherapist, a mindfulness coach, because I want to be that person when the big event happens and our veil is lifted and we shift to 5D. Like I said, I want to be there to lift those people up. And I know that I think this job is going, I think new spiritual people are going to come my way through this job. I really, really do. And I know when I get back
think
up to
that too, you are in this mega hub in the United States to bring your light there and then all these people are going all over the world to share that light that you're bringing there.
Yeah. And all it is moving people around, making sure they get to their destination safely and all that, and getting the gate agents to the right places so they can get those passengers to their destination as safe as possible.
Remember, you can't imagine how big your field is because you're in the middle of it. You cannot imagine how big your impact is because you're in the middle of it.
Exactly.
Matthew, it sounds like you definitely leveled up, not financially even though it sounds like, but like you leveled up, you healed something. I don't know your past experience at your last job, but it sounds like you've healed it and this is your golden opportunity to be where you're meant to be. And like your whole demeanor and tone of voice even changed when you were talking about the synchronicities and talking about your energy when you were there versus your energy in Florida. So it sounds like, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm telling you, I only got a split second of peace on the plane and being in Chicago, and then I had to return back to Florida the same day. But I knew though, like you were saying, like my energy, I was so happy to be on that flight. And just, I was just like, once I got to Chicago, I called my best friend, Caitlin, who lives there. And she's just like, you're home. She goes, you got to get back here. She's like, you have to get home. And she goes, this is nothing but the plan that we all have seen. And she's awoke, but she's getting there. She needs a little bit more of a pivotal moment in her life too.
You're standing in your vibration of truth, love, and light. And that's gonna, with that lawsuit, that's a slam dunk. That's gonna work in your favor as well. So, you're doing the right things, obviously.
We'll get this too. So that flight, like I said, flight 1128 in 2018, the person responsible for starting this false pretext against me was a deadhead flight attendant, and she was sitting in row. So deadhead flight attendants mean you're not working the flight, you're catching a flight to work a flight. So
Okay.
Yep, moving people. You're moving people.
Right.
She was sitting, we were on a 737-800 series. She was sitting in row 20B. On my way to Chicago, I was on a 737-800 on American Airlines sitting in row 20B. Same configuration, same layout. And I'm just like, I'm sitting in my glory. I'm just like, this is my moment. This is my big synchronicity. And it's not about the finances either. I'm ready to just really take this role differently. I'm ready to, it's a big paying job, but I'm going to live within my means this time. A lot of the reasons why I don't have anything now after I lost my job at United is I was living beyond my means. I had a sports car that I should have never had. I was paying big money to live in a nice apartment in Chicago and things like that. So like, I know that this money that I'm going to be getting is going to be going back to the collective this time, making sure that I'm giving back and doing that, the healing of myself first so I can heal others.
Yeah.
And that way, abundance is different than being rich. Abundance, you have a lot, but it's abundance because it's good energy. Being rich, you don't do anything with that money. You're self-service on yourself. You're not service to others.
Right.
And as long as you're service to others, you will have that abundance, because being at service to others, you need abundance in order to, even if you donate $5 here and there to a charity, that energy, that little tiny bit of $5, it's energy. It's a transaction of energy. And so this time around, I want to take care of myself, but I also need to really focus on the bigger picture here. And that is eventually being in my healing career, hopefully in 10 years from now, but maybe sooner. But I'm on a plan, and I'm just going to let it go.
So I got a question for you, but first I want to just give a quick shout out to Theo is Light for the super chats. Thank you. He said he's loving your heart, loving Matthew's heart. So yeah, your heart is definitely in the right place. And I think all of us would agree on that. Another thing is that, excuse me. Yeah. I just want to remind everybody that's watching, if you just joined us, make sure that you hit the subscribe and bell notification so you can follow more of these kind of videos as well. What did you get out of the dark night of the soul that you want to share with other people? What's your best advice that you would give to other people when they're going through the dark night of the soul?
Wow. I guess I would say that you need whatever has hurt you, because going through the dark night of the soul, I believe you're hurt. You're hurt for some whatever reason. Some traumas are coming up. You're starting to realize different things. Things may make you upset, but whatever it is, please learn forgiveness. It is the hardest thing to do, but you have to learn forgiveness when you're going through this, because you realize the people that you've hurt too, and that also in turn hurts you right back, because you're starting to realize, we're only here for a blink of an eye. I mean, really, once you're on the other side of the veil, it's a blink of an eye that we're here. And really, if you want to ascend, please learn forgiveness, because that is the number one thing that is the hardest thing to do. It's the biggest hurdle. So when you're going through the dark night of the soul, just start to forgive, and then also start to give back, just in little ways. If you don't have any resources to give back, whether it's opening the door at Publix for somebody else before you, or if you have 2 items in your hand at the grocery store, and let somebody else, you know, or if you have a lot of items and somebody else behind you has like 2 items, let them go ahead of you, you know,
Putting
just
people in on traffic, random acts of kindness.
random acts of kindness. Absolutely random. You know, I had $20 to my name before I came home to Florida, and I'm at Walmart and I'm buying a few cheap groceries, like, you know, ramen noodles like in college. And I saw this homeless person on the street corner right before Walmart, and I'm driving, and I'm like, I just said to myself, I said, you know, you may not have much and you may think that you're poor right now, Matt, but when you walk out, make sure you give her $1, because she has nowhere to go. You're in a car and you're going home to heat and electricity. And you know what? And you got your flight booked already from somebody else who gave back to me. So I was like, pay it forward. It was $1. You know what? $1. I told her, I said, hey, McDonald's is over there or something. I hope you get something to eat. And she said, she didn't even speak to me, because I got out of the car. I stopped at the stop sign and I told traffic to go around me. I got out of the car and I handed her $1 and I shook her hand. And she didn't even know what to say. I just said, God bless. And then that was it. Exchange of energy right there. And just simple acts of kindness and forgiveness is something that definitely learn to do when you're waking up like this.
Mhm.
And when you do those small acts of kindness, you feel good. So it actually, like you said, an exchange of energy, you're benefiting too. We're light workers. We feel good holding light in dark spaces. So whether we're in a successful career or have the house with the white picket fence, it doesn't matter. We don't crave that. That's why I think a lot of us do lose our money for certain reasons. But when we hold the light and we help others, we have so much gratitude that we're fulfilling our soul purpose. Isn't our soul purpose to come here and anchor new light in? Like, I think that's a huge part of why we're here. And sometimes we underestimate that role.
Right.
But others do say it. And like you said, that person that you handed the $1 to that was so surprised, we surprise people a lot, I think, by those small interactions, and we need to keep doing it.
That other person is you as well, you know? So it's
Right.
really, it's amazing. It's a beautiful thing to do.
Everybody is a fabric on one big giant tapestry, is how I think Dolores Cannon put it. And Matthias even mentioned about tapestry. So we're one tiny thread, and on that tiny thread, you know, Greg, you make up one, Catherine, you make up one, you know, we're all connected. So you have to remember that if we think like that, what a great world this would be if everybody just knew that we're one fabric on a big tapestry that makes up that whole, that makes up that one giant piece.
And this power of love, despite all the chaos that's going on around us, this power of love is so much stronger than all that chaos. We can make a huge difference together.
Yep.
In the collective consciousness.
Absolutely. And it's the little things, you know, it's the little things every day. And today I had an experience where I was starting a class and taking a 5-day class, and I had to be there at 9:30, and it was like 20 after 9, and I saw the 7-Eleven. I'm like, oh, I would love a cup of coffee. I just want to grab a cup of coffee before I walk into that class. So I ran into the 7-Eleven because the class was around the corner from it. And I got my coffee, and then I was like thinking to myself, oh my God, I can't be held up at all. And some guy literally looked right at me, and he's like, please go ahead, like go right before me. and he had like a few things in his hand, you know, and I just looked at him, I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. He's like, it's fine. And I'd heard in my head, this is for all the times that you let other people go ahead of you, you know? So it was kind of like it came back around full circle. And when I really needed it, you know, because I was so worried that I was going to be late for my first class, you know? So I thought that was really nice. It was a nice gift that I got today. So, and I've let people go ahead of me so many times on lines, you know. It was perfect.
Well, I have to mention that I have listened to Greg, and I do have a handicap placard, and yes, I do like the handicap parking space because it means less steps to get into the store. The less steps, the better. And I have become, I guess, a pretty good master of manifesting a handicap parking space because I have not gotten one now in about, 2 weeks.
All right.
And like the other day, you know, you were talking about how, well, I don't know, but usually for me to like go to the post office is a major chore to do anything because usually there's like a line and there's nowhere to park and I got to stand. And, you know, for me to stand for more than 5 or 6 minutes, it starts to get a little painful. And, you know, usually, and I always dreaded it. So it always turned into a dreadful experience. Well, the other day I said, you know what, I'm going to go to the post office. I'm going to walk right in, walk up to the counter, mail my package and walk right out. And that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, you know, everything is mental. Your mind is, we're more powerful than we know. We really are, you know, and I'm just starting to understand that. I really am. And it's awesome.
Imagine doing that in the beginning of the day, programming your day as you know, each day. I'm going to do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
As soon as I wake up, I'm going to put a little note next to my bed or in the bathroom, right? And this is how my day is going to go. I'm going to do something for myself and something for the collective. Tonight, though, I'm going to surrender tonight. I still haven't done that after this last Dark Night of the Soul. I'm going to surrender again tonight.
Right. I can't wait to hear what happens.
Yeah, I think everybody should surrender tonight.
Regardless if you're going through it or not. Yeah.
Exactly.
I've kind of surrendered 2 or 3 times while we've been talking, and I keep doing it. And I'm going to do it until I get it right, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Has anyone experienced any of the energies lately, like sleeping patterns? I can't sleep I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
Me either.
My dreams are so vivid. I don't want to dream. Like you were saying a couple days ago, I don't want to dream right now. It's so bad. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, I can't sleep. I can't.
I'm having great dreams, but my dreams are, you know, I'll wake up, go to the bathroom, and I'll pick up right where I left off, and the whole night. It's one dream, but it's continuous, and this is so bizarre because it's happening night after night. I've never experienced this.
I shouldn't say the dreams are negativity. It's just that they're just so real. They're just so real, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like you want to take the dream out, but you want to stay in it, and you can't. It's like I can't stay awake or asleep to finish the dream. But like you said, Greg, if I go back to sleep, I'll get back into it. But it's like my sleep is so disturbed that I have frames and different frames of the dream that I can't put together right now. It's very chaotic of what's going on.
You write them down?
I started writing them down as of last week, actually.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I've been keeping journals for like 13 years. And I'll tell you, when I look back and the things that have happened through my dreams have really helped me a lot in my life because they give guidance. And if you ask before you go to sleep too, for guidance in your dreams, or ask what it is that you need to know at this time in your life to help you, you'll get a lot of you'll get prophetic dreams and different kind of dreams that'll help you. Sometimes they're very symbolic, but you'll be able to develop a system that you'll intuitively know what the dream means and how it relates to what's happening in your life. So they'll work in that way with you.
Yeah,
if
maybe the
you're
big
open to
take
it.
of this chat tonight is learning surrendering too. You know, maybe we have to surrender. You know?
Well, you made a good point though. What if we all surrendered tonight? What kind of change could we make?
Let's do it. Let's co-create.
Let's do it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
All right.
Set your intentions, surrender, you know, do what you have to do. You know, I love my meditation music, so I'll put some of that on tonight too. And
Yep.
just, you know, surrender to that, you know.
Even those that are watching this on the recorded version, surrender right now or at the end of this video. Join us. All right. Let's see what we can do. That'd be
Because
cool.
you can always go deeper.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
How exciting. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up on that note on surrender. Wow. I'm excited to do this, really.
Oh
Okay,
my.
I'm excited
I gotta get ready now. I gotta
I'll
get
do
my
this.
crystals out. I gotta set my intentions. Set your intentions, guys. Everybody, yeah.
Yeah, so let's do it. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to also thank everybody that has gone to n5d.net to shirts that help support our channel here. So yeah, if you can, if you can, check it out. And thank you for.
Oh, and Greg, my mom bought one of your shirts today, by the way.
Awesome. Is that Susan? Or I had some.
Dorothy Dottie.
Okay. What was the name?
Her name is Dorothy Fayette.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. She bought one of your shirts. I was like, cool. All right.
Yeah. She'll have to come online and join us for one of these chats.
Yeah. She's a Virgo. She's a little kind of, you know, it takes her some time. You know, she's got to think things through. And
yeah, I know the monkey mind of Virgos. I know them well.
She's good at her job, though. That's why she does what she does. So.
Yep. Well, tell her thank you, and it'll be out tomorrow morning. And also, I want to thank everybody that is part of our N5D Patreon family. You can find that at patreon.com. N5D means a lot to me because Facebook is totally screwing us. So,
well, that means you're on to something.
yeah, and this is awesome to have this platform for everybody to come on and have their voice. So I appreciate everyone that's joined us here on Zoom, as well as the simulcast on YouTube. So yeah, we're going to definitely do another show here in the near future on Walk-in Souls. I think that'd be a great show to do. And
yes,
we'll have more spirit chats where it's just a completely open forum about whatever we want to talk about. So once again, thank you all. I'm sending everyone infinite love and light. This is Greg from N5D. Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
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 Night.
Good night, everyone.